Check, check, check. All right, so we are live on my end. Just double checking that YouTube's up. Howdy, howdy. We're gonna be getting started in just a moment. Just gotta get everything set up. Yeah, I can't hear anything either. Please be patient, y'all. We'll get this set up in just a moment. I just want to make sure that the audio is all good once we get started.
Mic check. 1, 2. I don't hear you, DJ, if you're talking.
All right, we're just waiting for them to bring me up, and then we should be good to get started. Still not
Blitz,
up.
you got to hit the hand icon with the 3 dashes on the side.
There we go. Should be all set. All right. All right, my hand is up. Please raise me up. I think everybody can hear me here. But we're just waiting for the we're just waiting for them to bump me up. Do. All right. Sorry for the wait, fellas, friends. Just waiting to be brought up. How did that get uncentered? There we go. We are centered again. What server is
Can
this?
anyone hear me?
It's an English language server.
Oh, yeah. Loud and clear.
But
Oh,
they
good.
still haven't raised
Okay.
me up yet. So
No idea what happened there. All right, welcome everyone to the event. We just need to bring.
Oh, that's annoying. 1 sec. I have to rejoin. Where is it? Here we go. Pop out.
All right, so I've sent you an invite to speak, Dr. Blitz.
Don't know how to. I don't see any invite. Oh, accept. There we go. All right, we should be good. Can you hear me? Can you hear me all right?
Yes, loud and clear. Excellent. Thanks so much for joining.
Yeah, of course.
And
Just as a double check, I want to make sure that my audio is not doubling up because I'm grabbing both the Discord audio and I'm grabbing my own mic audio. So I just want to double check with my chat if that's okay. Chat, can you
yeah, go
confirm
ahead.
it's not doubling up? Okay, it sounds like it's fine on my end, both on TikTok and on YouTube. So we should be good to go.
Yeah, awesome, right? Okay, so it's 5 past now, so we'll go for an hour with you chatting with Indio, and then we'll start bringing some more people up on the stage, and we'll just play it by ear, keep it super casual and chill, and yeah, everyone try not to interrupt each other, and I think everything should go smoothly. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Let's go ahead.
Sounds good to me. Where do you want to start, Indio?
Oh, I don't care. I'll start. I'll start by asking.
Actually, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah. I mean,
Because you're not, my audience doesn't know you, so.
okay. My username is Indio7. I've been debating this topic, Flat Earth. I run the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord for about 8 years now. We have about close to 30,000 members. This is actually the second iteration. There was a previous one with about 32,000 members. Yeah, I'm well versed in this topic. I've probably debated maybe, I don't know, it's got to be close to 10,000 people at least. Yeah, so I guess that's my background in this.
Yeah, 1 sec. It sounds like you're kind of quiet on mine, so let me turn you up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I can
No,
adjust
it's
my
fine.
mic.
It's just audio issues are always audio issues. And I can actually turn you up on Discord as well. Okay, I think we're good to go. So you think the Earth is flat then, yeah? I would imagine.
I would say I would say I know it's flat.
And just as a, I mean, I'm sure that you know my model. I think that the Earth is not flat. I think that it's quite fairly spherical. What would you say that you have a model that you subscribe to?
No particular model. I mean, when you say model, what do you mean by that?
I mean, some particular
A model
kind of
for a phenomenon, or
like
model
a frame,
for
like a mental framework that you use to understand like the shape. Like, do you have an idea as to like where the sun and moon are, or like what happens if you go up high enough? And you know, like, do you have a model that can answer these questions?
Okay, so what the sun and moon are?
Yeah.
I'm
For example,
I'm not exactly sure what that has to do with flat Earth.
well, I mean, like it's all part of the cosmology, presumably, right?
Yeah, they exist. Certainly, we see
Or
them. but
sorry, I don't mean like what they are. I mean
one
like
isn't
like
one
where are
isn't.
they? Like what are they doing?
Well,
How
I
is it
mean,
that they're doing what they're doing? Those kinds of things, you know.
okay, you're asking about phenomenon, right?
Mm-hmm.
About the celestial bodies.
Yep.
Which does not determine what the Earth is. It's not
No,
even possible. It just
I-
as a matter of logic, it's not possible.
I understand that. I'm asking to try to get a feel for what your worldview is, because maybe you're just like, well, the Earth is flat, and I don't know anything else, and like, fine, I guess. But I wasn't sure if you have more stuff
that's
that
not
you believe.
Yeah, so my viewpoint is it would probably be more like the viewpoint of the ancients, where let me start here. So a couple things about celestial bodies, right? So if you look at the sun, you can't look at the sun and say measure its distance by simply looking at it, right? There's even in the astronomical journals like Astronomical Eclipse of the Pacific says can't measure the distance of the sun using just the sun because there's no measurable solar parallax. So using a typical method like parallax, right? Parallax method of figuring out how far something is away, you can't get the distance of the sun. And this applies to every celestial body, that you can't just simply look at it and do a naive observation and say, hey, that's this far away. So the ancients knew this, and their I guess you call it their paradigm was that the rules that apply to things in heaven and the rules that apply to things in the earth are not the same. They didn't take the uniformitarian view that everything was uniform. Right? They considered the earth is unique and the things in the sky were the things in the sky, and they weren't separate. And this matches what we observe in reality. It seems that the rules of things in the sky don't match what's on the ground.
Sure.
Right? We can easily triangulate how
This isn't
far a
answering
house
my
is
question at
away
all,
or a
though.
building. It is because you're talking about the sun and the moon, right? You asked where they are. How do I
I'm
determine
just-
where they are?
I didn't ask how did you determine where they are. I just want to establish what you believe.
How would I get a distance then?
Maybe your answer is I don't have one. I'm just trying to figure out what it is you believe.
Well, nobody has one.
That's cool. We can talk about that. I just want to know what you believe. And if you want to say I don't have a distance under my worldview, that's fine. I just need to establish what you believe so I can know what who I'm talking to.
Okay, so I thought I explained it well.
I mean, you were getting into
paradigm
like,
under which I'm operating. The paradigm which, well, you asked what the sun's, moon, and distance was, right?
I asked, like, where are they? What are they doing? How are they doing what they're doing?
What does that
Do you
mean?
have
But
answers to
where
those
I have to-
questions under your worldview?
Okay, where they are is a distance, right?
Well, I mean, you could say that they're beneath the firmament. You could say that they're above the firmament. You could say that they're embedded
I don't.
in the
Who
firmament.
said I believe in a firmament?
That's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking. I'm trying to establish what it is you believe.
Okay, well, I'm trying to explain it to you. So, when you say where is it,
Mm-hmm.
I have an observer-centric worldview. Okay, just like we experience reality, we observe it from our eyes, right? Out, first-person shooter, not a third-person shooter. So when you ask me where it is, to me, you're asking me what's the distance? Where is it in 3D space relative to my location?
It
Right?
can be
That's when
more
you say,
vague than
where
that.
is it?
You could just say that it's, if you believed in a firmament, you could just say it's above the firmament. For example, maybe you don't, but that's the kind of, like, I wasn't looking
That's still
for
a distance.
direct, I wasn't looking for an exact distance. I wasn't looking for certainty. I was just looking for what it is your position is.
Okay. It's
If your position is
immeasurable.
we have no way of establishing that, fine. That's all you have
That
to
is
say.
my position.
Okay.
It's immeasurable.
So do you have any way of understanding the motions of the celestial bodies? in
Well,
your
yeah,
worldview?
we just, I mean, take your pick of models, right? We have several models. We got the Ptolemaic model, we got the Copernican model, we got the Kepler's model, we have Tycho Brahe's model. So we have a bunch of models to position them where we see where they are and predict where they'll be at some future date. But as to the true causes, as Copernicus said, these can never be attained. And why they're doing what they're doing, or we can only describe them.
So under your worldview, and look, I'm just trying to establish what your worldview is. If I'm straw manning you, please correct me. Under your worldview, these are just fundamentally unknowable.
No. What I said was we can plot where they are, and we can use a bunch of different models to do this.
Mhm.
But I don't reify models and say that the models are physically real. That's fallacious
I'm not
reasoning.
asking for saying that a model is physically real. I'm asking, are you able to explain the motions with a mechanism, with some sort of physical mechanism? Like when I push on a block, the reason, if a block is on a hill and I'm pushing on it, the reason why it moves up is because I'm applying a force to it. That is the mechanism. There's a force.
Well, that's
that
a
I'm applying to it.
tautology.
Well, the point is I'm asking for some
That's a
sort of
tautology,
mechanism.
though. But saying
It's
it
not
moves because you apply a force, that means the same thing.
No, it doesn't. That's a mechanism.
Okay.
In principle, you could have, like, if you didn't
no,
know anything, you could
force-
have things moving without forces.
Is
Right.
force a concept?
Sure. It's a concept that
Okay.
we use to
It's a
describe
concept that
a physical
describes
phenomenon.
what physical phenomenon?
It's a very broad physical phenomenon. Essentially, the set of physical phenomena that can cause motion. They don't have to, but that can cause motion.
Okay, does a force exist if there's no motion?
Does a force? It can, yeah.
In what way? In what way would it exist? How would you measure the force that exists with no motion?
You can measure it with springs, for example.
Okay, so if the spring doesn't move, it's in motion?
The spring can be stationary and be measuring a force. That's like
How so?
the springs in a scale, like that when you're standing in a scale in the bathroom, those springs
Yeah,
are
I
stationary and they're
understand.
measuring a force.
But you're measuring the displacement of a spring, right? That's what
Yeah,
you're measuring,
sure.
displacement of a spring?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But when the spring is not moving, you're saying if there was nothing on here, there would be a motion, right? The spring would expand or contract or do something, right?
Yeah,
That's why saying a motion, forces cause motion. It's a tautology because that's what a force is, right? It's a change.
Well, forces
right?
don't have to cause motion.
In
That's
position.
the point. Forces are things that can cause motion.
It's defined that way.
Forces are perhaps defined as that which can cause
In
motion.
physics, they're defined. It isn't. There is no qualifier.
No, I mean, forces don't have to cause motion. Not all forces cause motion. For example, if
Yeah,
you have
that's
two forces
cool,
that are
but
opposing
that's
each
how it's
other,
defined
then
in
you have no
physics.
motion. I don't think
Yeah,
that
there's
that's
no
correct.
quote unquote net force, right? That's what they say. There's no net force.
Yeah, that's what we would say when there's
Why is there no net force?
Because the two
there's no
forces
motion.
sum to give you 0.
Yeah, because there's no motion.
I think that you're getting it backwards. We say that there's no net force, and it's as a result of there being no net force that we have no motion.
Okay. Is no net force a
So
force?
just to be clear, do you not think that the notion of force is useful?
You're going to tell me zero pressure is a pressure?
Just to be clear, are you going to tell me that the notion of force is not useful, that it's not useful in explaining
No,
things?
that's a different argument. Utility is a different argument.
Well, I mean, we're talking about like explanations for things. How do you provide an explanation
These
for
aren't
something?
explanations. These are descriptions.
Okay, what do you qualify as an explanation then?
Okay, so an explanation. So a description would be.
I didn't ask what a description is. I asked what an explanation
Well,
is.
I'm going to give you examples.
I don't want examples.
Okay?
I want a definition.
A definition of description? Do you want like the dictionary definition?
I want a definition of explanation as you're using it, in the sense that forces aren't good explanations.
Explanation is the how and the why of why something happens. So you observe a phenomenon and you can describe it, right? What you're actually seeing, what it actually does.
Yeah.
And the explanation is why that happens, right?
So explanations are whys, not hows, in your worldview?
Well, no, the description would be, well, yes, how would be an explanation.
Okay. So if I gave an explanation of how something happens using the language of, say, forces, or,
a description of how something happens,
or if I gave a description of how
something happens
in the language of those things, well, how something happens, you said
you went back to description. You're going to bounce back and forth. You know.
Wait, so
this is common that you guys bounce back and forth.
Indio,
but you guys bounce back and forth between description and explanation and try to use them interchangeably.
Indio,
I'm not confused.
You said an explanation. Your definition of explanation was.
I haven't insulted you yet, but I can stop.
Indio, your definition of explanation was a description of how something works.
It was a description?
If I remember correctly, that's what you said. What was the phrasing that you used?
No, a description would just be a straight observation in describing how it just appears to the senses.
Okay, then
whereas an explanation is the abstract idea, like a mental model of like the how and why that happens.
So,
right. So we can have a bunch of explanations. If I drop something, here's one explanation. Mass attracts mass. Here's another. Magic elves with magic rubber bands. Here's another. My mental powers project telemetric freaking forces. Like I can come up with all sorts of explanations as to the description.
Yeah, and how do we determine which explanation is the most likely to be correct?
What do you mean most likely? That's a no. Okay, most likely is a probabilistic statement.
Yeah, so can you answer the question? How do we figure out which explanation is most likely to be correct?
That's subjective, isn't it?
It doesn't have to be. No, you can use like Bayes law, or Bayes formula rather.
Okay, you can great. Use Bayes theorem to.
So it doesn't have to be subjective.
To get some confidence level that your explanation is correct, but you don't actually know anything, do you?
That's why I asked, how do we figure out which explanation is most likely to be correct?
The one that makes you feel good. Whatever you subjectively feel like is the most correct one.
Okay, so your view of explanations towards physical phenomena is based off of what makes you feel good?
Well, no, that's yours. That's your criteria, not mine.
You just
said
your
criteria, though.
That's not
your
my criteria.
Your criteria is what you think is most likely.
I'm sorry, are we reading minds now? Because that was what you said, not what I said.
No. You said explanations should describe what is most likely, right? Should tell you why something happened. Okay,
I didn't actually give a definition of explanation. I was using your definition of explanation.
And tell me what you said.
I asked you how do you establish which explanation is most likely to be correct? Given your definition of explanation.
Can't.
Oh, you can't. So there's no way to figure out which explanations are good and which are not good.
Well, I mean, that's subjective.
So if I said,
let me give you an example, a specific example.
There was the
epicycle model of astronomy. Hold on, dude. No, stop. You're not going to steamroll me. So there's the epicycle model of astronomy, and there was the Keplerian model of astronomy, right? Why did we abandon one for the other? It wasn't accuracy.
It was simplicity.
That wasn't the reason either.
I mean, that seems like a good enough reason to me. Do you know the historical reason? Is there some historical reason?
Yeah,
that's,
actually,
like, written down in
there
the
is a
text? Go ahead,
historical
tell me.
reason. There was one guy that
Go ahead and
didn't
tell
like
me.
the idea because, okay, there was a guy. So this was medieval Europe, and I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. He preferred the Keplerian model because it gave some sort of hypothesis, right? It gave some
That can
sort of
be tested?
hypothesis, explanation as to why things happened. Whereas the epicycle model, though it gave right predictions, there was no explanation for it. He preferred a
Yeah, okay.
hypothesis, and people in Europe adopted this view. We prefer the explanation, but this is just subjective.
Well, so do you?
This
so
is just a
on the one
subjective
hand,
preference.
so the epicycle doesn't provide an explanation. The
So
Keplerian
what?
model does. So if your
So?
goal is to find explanations for things, then you would want to investigate the thing that presents an explanation, right?
Okay, so you have an explanation. Now what? You feel better?
Well, then you can check to see if it's a good explanation or not. You don't seem to think that that's possible, though, right?
No. I'm saying the evaluation is subjective. Are you not
How do
understanding
you-
that?
So, I mean, in some sense, like, the entirety of human experience is subjective, but like we can set that aside and we can do our best
No.
to do
I don't wanna get
objective
into that.
objective science, right? Unless you don't think that science is a valuable method.
See, you're trying to conflate two things. Science is
no,
useful.
the
Science is
scientific
valuable.
method- the scientific
Science
method-
pragmatically does useful things for us.
Indio,
That
Indio.
doesn't mean the scientific concepts are true. Okay?
Indio. So the scientific method is you make an observation. This celestial things move in a certain way, right?
Okay.
Then you form a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a potential explanation for your observation, right? Now, that hypothesis is going to have implications if the hypothesis is correct, if it is the correct or true explanation of whatever it is you're observing. And so then that hypothesis will make predictions based on those implications. And then you can go check if those predictions come true. If so, that is, at least in the Bayesian sense, evidence that your hypothesis was a correct explanation.
Congratulations. You insert. No, I agree with all that, but
Okay.
it's logically fallacious, doesn't it? Affirms the consequent.
Yeah, so science is based on induction, not on deduction. So do you just
Are you
disagree
saying
with
you
Bayesian
can't prove
reasoning then?
anything?
So
So you're saying
science
you
is not in
can't
the
prove
business of
anything?
proof, it's in the business of
So-
evidence.
Okay, so you're in the business, not in the business of proof. You're in the business of evidence. But
Yeah.
then, what good are the explanations?
The explanation
Is
we
the
come to
explanation the evidence?
explanations.
Is the
No, the ex-
explanation the evidence?
No, the experiments and the observations are.
Okay, so we don't even need the explanations to do science. We only need the experiments.
No, the explanations are the goal of the science bit. The experiments don't
Okay,
provide you
you
with
just
any
said
understanding.
science was the observation, so we don't need the
I
explanation.
didn't say science was the observation.
Yes, you did.
I
You
said
quite-
the
yes,
scientific
you did.
method involves 4 steps. The first step is observation. The second step is forming a hypothesis. The third step is testing your hypothesis. The fourth step is analyzing the result of your
Okay,
test.
great. And then you
there
spit
are
out
4
an
steps, not just
explanation.
one.
Go, I affirm the consequent because I used inductive logic, and I don't actually know anything because
Well,
someone else can
it's
come
Bayesian
along
reasoning, right?
and come up with a different So what?
So
That's an appeal to
do you
probability
reject- Do
fallacy.
you reject Bayesian reasoning?
No, it's useful, but you still don't know anything because it's an appeal to probability.
Okay, well, look, if you're going to come on here and just say, well, we can't actually use Bayesian reasoning to try to come to any conclusions, to come to the best explanation of the data.
You can't.
If that's your
That's
view,
circular
then
logic
you're
right
just
there.
not you're just not
You can't use
interested in actually
Bayesian
doing the
probability
science.
to reach the best explanation. That's a circular reasoning.
I'm sorry, what do you think Bayesian reasoning does?
Does it give you a probability?
Yeah, it gives you a probability, or rather,
Okay,
perhaps
what
a
does a
confidence level.
probability say?
A probability is, I mean, it depends on your
Is
interpretation.
likely
If you're
or
a
not
Bayesianist
likely
or
a
if you're a
probability?
frequentist.
Okay, is likely or not likely a probability statement?
Yeah.
Okay, that's circular reasoning. You
Where's the
use
circle?
Bayesian reasoning because you used Bayesian reasoning to justify finding what is likely or not. That's a
But
circle.
no, Bayesian reasoning is how you determine what is likely.
Yeah, I know it's the methodology. Okay.
Right, so where's the circle?
Oh my God, dude. I don't. Okay. I just explained it. Why do I have to explain it again?
Yeah, so can you point out the thing
The
that I had to
justification-
assume to get to Bayesian reasoning?
that Bayesian reasoning is useful because it tells you what's likely. Well, I think you went further than that. So you're using what's called an appeal to probability. Great. You have a thing which you can tell yourself, well, this is more likely than not.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Yep.
You don't know that. You
What
just
do you mean by
believe
no?
that.
What do you mean by no? I'm not an absolutist when it comes to truth. Are you?
Okay. So what do you, okay.
Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
He might have dropped out for a second. I'm sure he'll be back in just a second.
Okay. In the meantime, how are things going, DJ?
Good. Yep. Hope's
Glad to hear
all well with everyone. So, yeah, we're about 20 minutes in so far. So, what do you think after the first hour is up? How about, would you guys we could get some people to ask you guys questions from the audience? One globe question,
Kicked me
one
or
flight
something.
question.
Sorry, DJ. Someone kicked me or
No,
something.
you're right. Okay, that's interesting.
I mean, after the first hour, if there are any like other, I don't know, big name flat earthers that want to come up and do another 30, 40 minutes, I think that'd probably be better / more interesting than just answering questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
If possible, if that's available.
Okay.
After,
So
however long. Go ahead.
can I finish what I was saying? Okay. Thank you. So if you're saying you're not an absolutist and you can't know anything, why are you trying to convince people of something you're not positive about? Why should they follow you into your uncertainty?
Just to be clear, are you an absolutist about truth?
Yes.
About knowledge,
there is
perhaps?
there is absolute truth. That's right.
Okay, so how do you know that you're anything more than a brain in a vat?
I don't start from the presupposition of the internal world. Okay, I start from the presupposition of the external world has primacy.
Okay, how do you justify that?
Contaminated by cards.
And so you can't so that's just a belief without justification then, right?
Okay, no, it's not a belief without justification.
What's the justification?
You're talking to me right now. Are you talking to yourself?
I'm not an absolutist about truth. You are. So
Are you
you're
talking
the one
to
that has to
yourself
provide
right
it.
now?
So you have to provide a justification.
I am
for your
not talking to
worldview.
myself. You're correct. There
How
is
do you
an
know?
external world, and I'm
How
not
do you know?
talking because you're asking me a question.
How do you know it's
Are
not
you-
an illusion?
Am I interrogating myself right now?
Could be. How do you know?
See, you guys have to take an absurdist worldview and
No,
borrow from a
This is your
absolute
worldview
world.
that's absurd.
No,
That's
you
absurd
have to
because you're
borrow
taking the
from my
absolutist
worldview
here.
to even have a worldview.
I don't even know what your worldview is. You're claiming absolute certainty and you won't tell me what you're certain of.
Okay. Yes, I am certain that you are talking to me right now and you're not me.
And how did you
Okay.
come to that conclusion?
Really simple. Okay. Because that is the only way we can communicate.
What if it's an
not
illusion?
possible.
Why couldn't you be hallucinating?
Okay. Because I couldn't have made up this interrogation.
Oh, why not? People have whole ass conversations in their dreams, in their hallucinations.
Why not? You can't be a part of my imagination.
Why not? How do
Is
you
that what
know
you're
that with
asking me?
absolute certainty? Yes.
Okay, because I'm not talking to myself. I know that with absolute certainty because there are certain transcendental categories which exist. We're gonna end up going way down
Because
something
there's
that
certain
you're not ready
transcendental-
for.
Oh wait, are we doing
Yes,
are we
like
doing
the
tag
laws
right
of
now?
logic and shit.
Are we doing tag right now?
No, we're not doing tag. Like the laws of logic.
Yeah. So how do you know that the laws of logic are true?
So they exist because we wouldn't be able to communicate without them.
Oh, how do you know that? With absolute certainty?
Because
do you
you're
know you're not
speaking to
mistaken?
me and your words have meanings, right? And we assign
Do they, or are
those
you
things,
hallucinating
those
meanings?
Oh, dude, those meanings have an identity. Why you like if you believe what you're saying, you wouldn't every word
are
you
forced
said
to believe these
every
things.
if you believe listen, every word you said would have no meaning. It would mean everything and nothing all at the same
This
time.
isn't my worldview.
That's
I'm not an absolutist. You are.
Okay. You have to borrow from my worldview where there is a law of identity.
I don't even know what your worldview is.
I just told you, okay?
That
you have to
logic
borrow
is
from my worldview and say
true?
words. You're trying to steamroll me. I'm getting about fed up with it. And I'm going to put an end to it because I'm going to just start being a dickhead. Okay?
So,
I mean,
well, trusting you on your worldview is steamrolling?
Hold on, son, something playing in the background. listen, you're talking to me. You have to use the laws of logic to communicate with me. You ask me what's the justification. You even asking that is the justification. You're in a performative contradiction to say they don't exist. You have to use the laws of logic to argue against them. You understand that, right?
So I'm happy to agree that
you're in a performative contradiction. Acknowledge you're in a performative
I know that you've been listening to Jay Dyer and Darth Dawkins for a long time.
Okay, so I don't even know who Darth Dawkins is.
So you've been listening to Jay Dyer. Good. So I'm happy to agree that absolutely agents by their mere existence, agents have to accede to at least one law of logic, perhaps two, perhaps the law of identity and perhaps the law of non-contradiction. But I don't get how you then justify that there's an external world.
Well, I'm of the vein of Thomas Reed, so
can you make the argument?
You're in a performative contradiction to deny the external world. Okay,
what's the contradiction?
You're talking to me. You're using things. You have to borrow my worldview to communicate.
I think there is an external world, but I'm also not an absolutist about truth. You, on the other hand, are an absolutist about truth, which means that you need to provide a justification, a deductive justification for every single claim that you make. Otherwise, with no justification, the justification is you're in anything. If you're an absolutist about truth, you can't know anything, rather.
Okay, your word count is off the hook. You're going to let me answer any of the questions you actually ask me, or are you going to answer them for me? So, the justification is the law of identity in and of itself, the mere fact that we're communicating puts you in a performative contradiction. Even if you say you're talking to myself, even in my fucking jar, the law of identity is still true.
What does that have to do with an external world existing?
Oh my God. Because the law of identity exists in the external world. There's things separate from me, which have their own individual identity that is separate. Okay, means there's an external world. Where does the law of
identity exist?
Well, it exists it exists as a transcendental category. It doesn't exist in mind. It exists in the mind of people.
It exists in minds. So you have
a mind, that's right. Yeah, it exists in my mind.
It could exist in your mind, even if
it's how I make sense of the external world.
So it could exist in your mind, even if there were no external world, right?
I need something to apply it to.
You could apply it to thoughts in your own mind.
Well, that would be circular.
No, it wouldn't be circular. Where's the circle?
So well, actually, it's like an infinite regression. Well, how did I have thoughts in my own mind to identify with, to create the law of identity, to have objects that are also internal? It just ends up into a circular loop. You don't actually believe the stuff you're saying. So this is
under my worldview. The law of identity and the law of non-contradiction.
Is the law of identity true?
That there exist agents.
Does the law of identity objectively true? Is the law of identity?
I don't think that it exists in the absence of minds. So if that's what you mean by
so the law of identity is objectively true, yes or no?
Well, no. In the absence of minds, I don't think that it exists. So I don't think it even makes sense.
Is that objectively true? Is that objectively true? That
the proposition is true insofar as propositions exist in minds.
Okay.
So I'm a nominalist. I get that you're some sort of, well, actually, I don't even know what your worldview is. Are you some sort of like Platonist?
No, I don't have a standardized worldview that you can stick a label on, bro.
That's fair. I mean, so it seems like you just take Jay Dyer's worldview and then try to mix it into flat Earth.
No, I'm not mixing anything, dude. Okay.
So
my worldview is based upon the philosophy of time history. It's called direct realism. In his argument, and he refuted Descartes a long time ago. Okay, I know you guys haven't caught up yet, but Descartes was refuted by the very fact that he bothered to publish a book in the fucking first place. If he's just
a contradiction that you've derived.
He published a book. Everybody read it. You read it.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't read it, but everybody read it. It is a delusion to sit there and play pretend that this book wasn't read. This is
to be clear, is this incredulity that you're just saying, well, it's stupid, therefore I think that I'm justified in believing in an external world? Is that your view?
No, it's a fact that this book was read, okay, and that people read it and that it was written. You're arguing against it.
How do you know that I'm not just a delusion? I'm not just a hallucination in your mind.
We already covered that.
You haven't sufficiently
answered that. Because that leads to an infinite regression fallacy. Yeah, I really want to go back on topic though.
Yeah. Look, the audience and everyone wants to hear, right? empirical evidence for whether the Earth is flat or a globe, right? So if we could try to get it back on the actual topic of the debate, that would
But
be great.
He doesn't believe in science, so it's not. He doesn't believe in testing hypotheses using.
What does that mean?
experiments
I
and
don't believe in
observations.
science. Is
You don't
science a belief?
You don't believe in test. You don't
Is
believe
science
that
a
there is
belief?
Please, I'm answering your question. You don't believe that there is use or validity in.
I asked you if
testing
science is a belief, and you
hypotheses.
talk about me
I am answering your question about what I
by
was
talking
saying.
about me.
Yes.
So I
So-
ask you if science is a belief, and you talk about me, and that's answering your
Yeah.
question.
So when I said you
That's
don't
answering-
believe in science, I'm explaining.
How do you know what I believe?
Because we've had a conversation already. We're talking about it. I've established what you believe based off the conversation that we've already had. So
No,
under
these
your
rhetorical
worldview-
gimmicks aren't going to
This
work
isn't a
on me,
rhetorical
buddy.
gimmick.
You're going to
I'm
need
just
to do better.
summarizing what you've done. So under your
No,
worldview,
you're trying
it
to
is not-
mischaracterize
please, can
me,
you
and I'm not going to tolerate it.
DJ,
No, I'm not going to let you
can-
freaking monologue and meta
you
conversation.
let me
No,
finish
we're not
my
doing meta,
sentence?
bro.
This
We're
isn't
not doing
I'm
meta.
answering your question.
This is meta. You're trying to recharacterize the conversation and characterize
Do you
me
think
as
that
not
it's
quote
useful
unquote.
to use
belief-
observations
you interrupt
and
me
experiments
again.
to test explanations?
Yes, I already acknowledged they're useful.
To test explanations, to test, and I should clarify, to test the validity.
Yeah,
of
they're useful to
explanations.
make you feel better so you can sleep better at night. Yes, they're useful.
Okay, so can we come to true conclusions that way?
You don't even believe in truth.
Sure, I do. I just don't have an absolutist view.
What does that mean?
It means that I don't think that there is a sense in which you can be absolutely guaranteed of certainty.
Okay, so there's a truth that's not true? Because truth
I
means
just have a different
100%
notion-
certainty.
I just have a different notion of truth than you do.
There's the dictionary definition of truth, okay? That's the only one. So now
So
you're going
to
to
be
make up your
clear-
own
to be
definition
clear,
of truth
you know,
so you can
philosophers don't
see
rely
that-
on Merriam-Webster, right?
I'm well aware of that. So this is
So
this is the
appealing
funny
to
thing.
the dictionary definition is kind of silly.
So this is a gimmick you guys do, is that you try to portray as if you're making truth claims while simultaneously saying, I don't know what the truth is. So let's get to let's just
it's called
dispense with
epistemology.
that, and let's get to like empirical evidence that the Earth is a globe. Or
Yeah, sure.
I was
Are
going
you
to
familiar
ask
with
you
the
if you
Minos
know the Earth
experiment?
is a globe.
Are you familiar
Well, I
with
was
the
gonna
Minos
ask-
experiment?
Oh, the so-called neutrino experiment.
Yeah, Minos neutrino beam. Are you
Yeah,
familiar with
I'm familiar with it.
that? Okay.
I'm familiar with it.
So they point
Which
the
is more
beam-
statistical nonsense if you really want to go through
More
it. No one in this
statistical-
chat is going to understand it. You want to keep it simpler?
No, actually, because this is definitive proof that the Earth is a
And the-
globe. So if
Oh,
if you
definitive
wanna run-
proof.
if you want to run from it, yeah, proof in the scientific
No.
sense.
I don't want to run from it. No one in this chat's going to understand it
I can
because
explain
we're
it.
going to start. We're
My
going to
job
start
as
talking about
scientist.
you're
My job is
explaining.
science
I'm going to
communication. I
explain
can
it,
absolutely explain it. Yeah.
and you're going to
I can explain
omit
it to
about
the,
20.
to the
And
audience.
you're going to omit. You're going to omit a lot of information. I guarantee it.
I'm going to synthesize and summarize.
No, you're going to
Part of
lie by
that
omission.
is- okay, well, so if you want to, poison the well,
How did
more,
they
that's
detect the
fine.
direction of the neutrinos?
So you can actually track their momentum, which is correlated, or which actually tells you the direction.
Correlated.
they're moving in. I said the wrong word. Forgive me. The momentum actually is the direction that they're traveling in. That's what momentum does. It tells you about direction.
Okay.
And so, given the scattering, or given the scattering, the transfer of momentum from the neutrinos to the detected particles, you can track basically by the way that the flashes of light appear in the detector.
I mean the reverse Cherenkov radiation.
I don't know why you're calling it reverse, but sure, and it's Cherenkov.
Oh, I was thinking something else.
So, so there's a fairly straightforward claim.
So they get the cross section of a cone of
Fermilab.
reverse of the Cherenkov radiation, and
So-
they infer the direction that the neutrino came from based upon this.
So in
But it's well
Fermilab-
known from the
can you let me
ice cube
explain or no?
experiment that they did in Antarctica that neutrinos arrive out of the Earth.
Yeah, so do you want to let me explain or no? Because you've done some lying by omission now, actually.
Oh, so did the ice cube experiment in Antarctica, one
Sorry,
with
we weren't
balloons,
talking about ice cube, we were
detect
talking about
neutrinos? That they come out of the Earth?
They come from all directions. Fortunately, we can figure out whether or not the neutrinos that we're detecting produced by Fermilab are those produced by Fermilab by modulating
Okay, how many
the beam.
detections? How many detections are there?
How many individual detections of
Yes.
the Minos experiment has run for a very long time. I don't know off the
Okay,
top
how
of my
many-
head how many individual
It's
detections
about
the Minos
6.
experiment has
Last
done.
time I looked, it was 6.
No, the Minos detection has been running since 1998. The Minos
Yeah,
collaboration,
there
right?
were 6 detections.
You think that
Last
they've
time
only
I
ever
looked,
detected,
which was like 8 years ago.
Wait, you think that the Minos experiment has only ever detected 6
Neutrino
neutrinos?
detection. Well, listen, it was 6 neutrinos, okay, over the 3 or 4 years that it was run that I knew about.
Okay, hold on. So I'm just gonna go
neutrinos
pull
are
up the
hard to
data.
detect, correctly?
They're famously hard to detect. Here, let me. I have a paper pulled up from 2013. The Minos experiment results in prospects, and I'm looking at a flux chart, which just tells you the amount of neutrinos that are detected at different energies. And what I'm seeing is that there is far more than 6. There's more than 6 bins, and they all have more than 1 unit in them. Now, we can actually probably search through this paper and find exact... Oh, yeah, so this is events per 8.2 times 10 to the 20 pod. So here's thousands of events per GeV. So I'm not posting it. I'm just like, I can post it if you want. I can pull it up if you want, but the important point is
the title of the
that,
paper?
The Minos experiment results in prospects by J.J. Evans. So I have a chart that I'm looking at literally right now, which is data of thousands of detections. Anyway, so do you agree that so I'm going to describe the Minos experiment really quick. Please don't interrupt me. Is that fair?
Yeah.
And I'll describe the relevant bits. So Fermilab is a particle accelerator in Chicago, or just outside of Chicago. And one of the things that they can do is they can produce neutrinos, which is a type of subatomic particle. They're very, very rare, or not rare. They're very, very hard to detect, and they don't interact with much. So one of the things that they can do is they take this beam of neutrinos that they produce in Chicago, and they angle them down into the Earth at an angle of like 3-ish degrees. I could work out the math. I think it's like 2.5 or 3 degrees or something. They angle it down into the Earth. And then 730 kilometers away in Sudan, which is a place in Minnesota, it's a town in Minnesota, they have a detector. And the detector is like 700 meters below the Earth or something like this. And the detector picks up those neutrinos that came from Chicago, 730 kilometers away. Now, if it were the case that the Earth was flat and that they were not trying to pass through the bulk of the Earth, the curve of the Earth, if you will, then they wouldn't have had to angle it down at 3 degrees. They would have had to angle it down at like 1/10 of a degree or something in order to reach the detector that was 700 meters underground. The fact that they had to angle it down that deep is very compelling evidence to me that the Earth is surely a sphere.
Okay. Can I speak now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Now, you claimed that the source of the neutrinos, these aren't even direct measurements of neutrinos. These are indirect measurements of the weak interaction of the neutrino with the nucleus of an atom, right?
Yep.
And they're detecting they're not even detecting a particle. They're detecting the light that a particle emits when it travels faster than the speed of light within that particular medium.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using an avalanche photodetector to detect this light emission, correct?
Yeah, you're describing how the detection method works. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, how do you know they came from Chicago?
You can turn it off, and then you stop seeing that many detections.
Is that what they did?
That's been done, yeah. I have a friend actually who's been there.
That? Well, I talked to someone that worked at the one in Japan, and I also talked to the one for the Minos. So I've talked to people about this, okay, that in the experiment, so-called experiment, actually, what's his name? Anyway, that's not important. Sorry, I'm trying to, I know who you're talking about. He's an anti-flat earther, isn't he?
Maybe. I have talked to a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. Oh. Fokker.
Nope.
Talk to Big Fokker.
I have no idea who that is.
No, you talk to him. You might not know who it is, but you talk to him.
No,
anyway.
I talked to a guy named Quantanaut, who's a friend of mine.
Oh, him too.
Who's
okay, anyway.
A particle physicist. But yeah, I mean, like,
that's
in
fantastic. And I've asked him the same question that I'm asking you. How do you know which direction it came from? And he didn't have an answer just like you.
Wait, I gave you an answer. You can track the particle motion by looking at the momentum of the...
Can or did?
I'm telling you how you can figure out the direction of motion.
Can or did?
So to be clear,
okay, I'll take that silence as the answer.
This is how calorimeters work. This is how you measure momentum.
Can
now,
or did?
I'm not a particle physicist.
Did they get the direction or not?
But the way that you determine whether or not you've detected something is by measuring momentum, and that includes direction. So surely, yes, they did, if they measured momentum at all, which of course they
surely,
did.
Yes, they did.
That's what they did.
Is this part of your Bayesian inference probability likeliness? Surely.
Okay. The muon produces a long track that curves in the magnetic field, the direction of curvature identifying the incoming neutrino as a new muon, or sorry, a muon neutrino or an anti-muon neutrino. They also talk about the this information is used to determine the direction in which the director activity is traveling. So that's another example. This is referring to atmospheric neutrinos. This is in the same paper. This is how they're selecting out for atmospheric neutrinos by looking at the direction in which the activity is happening. So yes, they do this.
Okay, so
So
not
yes,
really.
they do determine the
You're
direction.
not,
It
you're
just
not
said
doing,
so. It just
you're
said
not
so in the
determining
paper.
it came from Chicago. Okay, they didn't
Yeah, you
do that.
absolutely can. So fortunately,
You
one of the
can,
ways
but they
that you
didn't.
can-
Okay,
No,
that's
they
great.
Did. They actually did. So you know how they did? So what they have is they have a plot of the background neutrino radiation, which you get by turning the thing off, and then you turn the thing on, and you collect the data then. And what you find is that the data that you detect is the data that you detect at the detector, 730 kilometers away, is exactly what you would expect if the neutrinos were coming from Chicago. And that signal goes away when you turn off the beam in Chicago. So I don't know if you think it's a coincidence that like space is suddenly more energetic when they turn off the particle collider in Chicago, but that seems like it's an awfully big coincidence that you'd have to believe in order to not believe the Earth is a globe.
Well, I don't believe the Earth is a globe, not because of that. That has no bearing on it. Has to do with how flat it is.
How do you explain? Then how do you explain why there's a difference in neutrino?
How do you explain how there's no measurable curvature? How do you explain that?
Why'd you interrupt me?
Because you're just asking me nonstop questions. Do you think I might get a turn?
I was giving a piece of evidence, and you haven't provided a sufficient explanation for that piece of evidence. That's
sufficient for what? What do you mean? What do you mean by sufficient?
What I mean by sufficient is any
Is
kind
you
of
don't
explanation,
like it?
Any kind of explanation that can account for this data.
Beam divergence. There's a greater beam divergence than they say. How about that? There you go.
There's a greater beam divergence than they say.
Yeah, that's right.
So how big is this beam divergence?
3 degrees. There you go.
And what's the evidence for this claim?
They'd make a detection on a flat Earth, freaking 500 miles away or 800 miles away.
So we're assuming the consequent?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the same thing you're doing.
Assuming the Earth is flat in order to justify the view. But we can measure.
And you're assuming the Earth is a sphere to justify that it's going through the Earth.
No. We can measure the divergence, right?
Okay. How did they measure the divergence? Do they have another
with nearby detectors?
So they have a nearby detector 3 degrees in the air.
Detector.
3 degrees in the air?
It's underground.
Is it 3 degrees in the air?
It's pointing down.
Is it 3 degrees in the air?
Why would it be 3
No,
degrees
I want
in
the
the
one
air?
that's 3 degrees in the air.
Why would there be one that's 3 degrees in the air? What?
Okay, you said this thing's pointed down, right?
Yeah,
so 3 degrees from the direction. You said it's pointed down. You said it's pointed down by 3 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a half width beam divergence of 3 degrees, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be parallel to the surface of the Earth, right? Relative to the beam direction, the axis of the beam, it would be in the air, right? It's off axis.
So where's the evidence that it is? Where is this evidence?
Oh, because you make the detection on a flat Earth. Yeah, you
so we're just assuming the consequent. So
I'm doing what you're doing.
No,
I'm doing what you're doing.
Look,
I'm doing what you're doing.
The neutrinos are pointing down.
I am doing what you're doing. I'm
where did I assume the
exposing
shape
you.
of the Earth at all?
So why, like, listen?
Where did I assume the shape of the Earth at all?
These are nice gimmick tactics, okay? But I'm doing what you're doing. I am affirming the consequent, okay? Just like you're doing, and I can make up an explanation. Dude, how many times do you interrupt me now?
Can you actually just address the question? Because you're affirming the consequent. When have I assumed the shape of the Earth with regard to the Minos experiment?
When you said it goes through the Earth.
Well, I mean, it is underground, right? So surely it goes through the Earth regardless of whether you think the Earth is flat or round.
You said that the beam divergence was measured at other places, okay?
Yeah, nearby.
One of those other places would need to be someplace that's within, right? If you want to eliminate Earth versus globe versus flat Earth, you have to go parallel versus globe, this direction versus that direction, and you have to test it at that direction.
Nearby.
How close?
At the beam, at the beam origin.
At the beam.
Yeah. At the
So
beam
they're right.
origin.
They got a detector right on the other side of the beam. What was it, like a super freaking huge tank? Because you already said it's hard to measure.
You don't have to detect all the neutrinos. You don't
is
want
the
to
method
detect
of
all
the-
the neutrinos.
What are they using to detect it close to the beam?
So the actual calorimeter, I don't know.
Is it
what
under the
calorimeter
ground?
They're using the whole thing's underground. Yeah.
No, the detector is it
The whole
also
all
under
of it's
like,
underground.
Is it
Everything
in the
underground.
beam path somewhere?
Yes, they have calorimeters along the beam path. Yeah.
Okay, so the beam path is underground, right? That's
The
you
whole
said
thing's
it's going
underground,
through the
yeah.
earth. Yeah, no, listen, buddy. Okay, you got the sagittal. You're saying it's going through the core of the fucking arc, right? Through the core of the arc,
Mhm.
arriving in Minnesota. Okay,
Yep.
where in that chord is the detector to check the divergence?
It's at the origin, or near the origin anyway. It's at the origin of the beam.
It's
By
at-
the way, I found a paper that actually talks about the divergence.
You have to detect it further away.
Not really. I found a paper that talks about the divergence, and apparently it's less than 10
Are
millirads.
you googling this on the fly? Yeah, that's a cool story. How do they know that?
Do you want to read the paper together?
No, I don't want to read the paper together.
Okay.
This is called obscurantism.
How is it obscurantism?
tactic.
If I'm just
Because nobody
looking
knows
up
about
information?
neutrinos or how neutrinos interact with matter or anything about them.
I'm sorry. Is the science too sophisticated for your audience?
It's too sophisticated for your audience.
No, it's not. My audience loves this stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure they do because they want to play pretend scientist and pretend they know what you're talking about, but they don't. Okay, you know they don't know what you're talking about. They're just like Goo Goo Gaga
I would
over
actually
science on words.
bet that a big chunk of my audience does know what neutrinos are.
Knows what they are. Yeah,
Yeah.
fine. Everybody
Yeah.
in this chat knows what they quote unquote are. Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. So
then there's no issue talking about this. This isn't obscurantism. This is just, a subject to
no,
conversation.
obscurantism isn't going into details such as beam divergence. How do you measure neutrinos? How would you even measure them right at the point of freaking emission?
With
I
a
don't know
calorimeter.
because they need a big super fucking tank, fucking 800
No, you
miles
just won't
away.
detect them
They
as
need a
much.
giant tank. They need a giant tank in Japan, but somehow they're detecting beam divergence neutrinos right at the point of the emitter.
So
somehow,
it's lovely. You can also calculate the divergence of the
More
neutrino
sales
beam fairly
pitch.
easily.
yeah, great. You can calculate a bit. I can calculate and affirm the consequent too. So what, dude?
There's no affirming the consequent here. This is just standard
Dude.
like Maxwellian electromagnetism.
So neutrinos are in Maxwellian electromagnetism now.
Well, no. So the source of the neutrinos are decaying muons, and so from momentum conservation, we can infer that the decaying muons have the same momentum as
Maxwell's
the.
electrodynamics has nothing to
I
do
wasn't.
with
I
any
wasn't
of
done
that.
yet. I wasn't done yet. Thanks.
Yeah,
for
but it has
interrupting me.
nothing to do with
I
any
wasn't
of
done
that.
with that. We can figure out the momentum of the muons and use that to determine the momentum of the neutrinos.
And that has exactly what to do with fucking Maxwell's equations?
Once you know to determine the momentum of the muons, you use the Lorentz force law, which is associated with Maxwell's equations. You can do E cross B tests and things like this.
Yeah, fantastic. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, this is one of the ways that you can measure
To get the
momentums
beam divergence of the
muons.
neutrinos?
That's
that
a way
what
that
they're
you
doing?
can calculate it in principle.
Can.
So I mean, I could do
Or
it right
can.
now on live if you wanted to. So it sounds
No.
like your whole
No,
argument
as in
is just
can,
sowing doubt rather than actually presenting evidence or presenting contradictory
No,
evidence.
no.
It's just like,
listen.
can,
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm asking you
it
very
suggests, it
specific
implies.
questions so that I can rely on the experiment that you say proves the Earth is a globe by shooting neutrinos through the
Mhm.
fucking core of the arc. And I'm asking you particular details about how you know this to be true, and you don't know them. You just say could have been done,
Right,
but it wasn't done, and you
essentially
know
what
it wasn't done.
So essentially, well, to be clear, I don't know.
So
that.
more
To
meta.
be clear,
This is
to be clear,
listen. I'll pay,
wait,
like
why
if you
did you
guys
just-
had
why
to
did you
pay
just do meta then?
$1,000 every time you said you're doing X, you'd be broke.
So, look, it seems like what you're interested in doing is just
Here we
asking
go again.
questions
Me?
until I don't
Again?
know an answer. Yeah. You.
Me?
I'm talking about you.
I'm asking
which,
details.
The point is I could ask details about your model over and over until you don't know an answer, but that's not a good way to have a good
You
faith
and-
conversation.
What
On the other
model?
hand, on anything that you say, I could ask questions until you don't know an answer because you haven't personally done it. Now, I wasn't on the Minos experiment. I know people who were, so I know some details about it. I don't know everything about the experiment. I don't know everything about the implementations that they used in doing data accumulation, data tracking. I don't know everything about this. However,
Fine.
there are
It was
plenty of
your
people who
proof,
do,
not
who would be
mine.
happy to ask. Look, the point is that
Oh, the magic science guy fallacy.
what?
There's a magic science guy out there that has the information, just not you.
I didn't say that, but that's a cool straw man. The point is
It's not a straw man. It's what you guys do.
I'm providing.
When you're asked particulars,
I literally
there's
haven't
some other
done
guy
that.
with the information.
So the point is I've
Do you have
provided
the
evidence
information?
that there are detections, and
No,
if
you provided
you're-
claims. I asked
No,
for
no, I
evidence, and you
can-
didn't have it.
I can provide you the data if you want right now.
The
I'm looking
data
at
that
it.
doesn't have the key things.
Well, no, I mean the point is
key
that
thing
this is
That
data.
this path
This
is it
data
this
that
path
we would
and only
expect
this.
given Bayesian reasoning. We would expect to
Okay.
see this data if the Earth was a globe. We would expect to see this data when you angle it down. If the Earth was not a globe, you would not expect that.
Okay. That it assumes all the particulars are true in the first instance. It never assumed
It's
true
called Bayesian
because you
reasoning.
already assumed that the Earth is a. But you are assuming your conclusion already that the Earth is a globe.
There nowhere in anything that I've mentioned have I assumed the Earth is a globe. Rather,
Okay.
I assumed that like we can figure out what directions neutrinos travel in, which of course we can. Even the people at
Well,
IceCube
when you
and
figure
the
that out,
people
I
at
guess use it
IceCube-
as evidence.
the people at IceCube and the people at Super Kamiokande have done that.
And what happened with Ice Cube? You want to talk about that? What happened to Ice Cube?
I was only bringing up IceCube to illustrate that we can figure out what direction neutrinos.
Yeah,
are
you don't
coming
want to talk about that, do
in.
you?
If you want to talk about IceCube, we can. I just don't see how it's
Well,
going
we can
to
talk
help
about
your-
how
help
what
your,
they thought would happen
measurement.
didn't happen.
Care to elaborate?
They did not expect to have neutrinos coming out of the Earth.
What are you talking about? Of course they did. Neutrinos come from
Oh.
all directions. That was actually like
They say
that
that
was actually
now.
the whole point. No,
but
that was the whole
pro-
point of the IceCube experiment.
No.
The whole point of the
that
IceCube
wasn't the
experiment was
point.
to detect astronomical neutrinos by looking at neutrinos that aren't coming from above but are coming from below. That was the whole point.
Yeah, they did not expect the volume of neutrinos that they got. This is
Oh,
all,
the
in
amount,
all the published
perhaps,
material.
Perhaps the amount, because that's what the point of doing science is to figure things out and learn new things. But they wanted to find neutrinos coming from below precisely because they wanted to characterize them.
Okay, I have to I have to stop this. We need to talk about flat Earth, not neutrinos.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
just a second,
So,
Blitz.
I-
just quickly.
sure.
Go ahead.
Just a
DJ.
moment, guys. Okay. So Blitz has had a good chance to, present what he said is his best argument, for the globe. It would be great if before the time runs out, we could get Indio to present a case for the flat Earth, right? And to, ask Blitz about that. So if you guys
sure,
could
go ahead.
sort of wrap up this particular argument and let Indio present a case, in favor of the flat Earth, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. If you want to present I mean, I only got to talk about one experiment, but if you want to present the best piece of data in favor of the flat Earth, by all means.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of pieces, but I would say the most irrefutable is the symmetry of the reflection at the Bolivian salt flats. So
The
as
Bolivian
you know,
salt flats. So can you elaborate?
yeah, the
please?
Bolivian salt flats are salt flats in Chile. It's about 43,000 square kilometers, I think. But every once in a while it rains and it fills up with water, about 2 inches of water. So this creates a gigantic mirror. The entire surface of the Bolivian salt flats become a giant mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And as everyone knows, that a convex mirror can't reflect an image that is symmetrical. So the object
I don't
that's the
follow
object,
the point. What do you mean it can't reflect
Okay.
a mirror that's symmetrical? If your mirror
it
is
cannot
symmetrical, the
if
image
you
will be
have an
symmetrical.
not if it's curved. It'll
Yeah,
create
wait,
diverging.
I've looked in these things. It'll be symmetrical if your mirror is symmetrical. Like if your mirror is like
Well, if you're looking at it
half a
dead on, but
sphere.
we're looking at it but this is a side view, right? It's a side view of a curved surface, right?
sure.
It was supposed to be. It's supposed to be a side view of a curved surface. Sorry,
Sure.
I had a phone call. So you have the sky and the clouds, right? And you have the dividing line, the horizon, and then you have the reflection of the clouds in the sky.
Mhm.
It is perfectly symmetrical between the clouds and the reflection of the clouds. The image of the clouds that's reflected in the water is perfectly symmetrical, and
Oh,
it should
is?
it should be distorted. Yes,
Okay.
perfectly symmetrical.
Did you measure it?
Well, I've measured it by counting pixels.
Okay, so you're just trusting the flat Earth guy. Who
Well,
took the
there's
picture?
hundreds of images that you can measure, right?
Okay, and
but
second question.
According to the
relevant
mathematics,
question.
hold on, you're
ahead.
gonna let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's the sky and the reflection of the sky, and those are that you can overlay them so that they're perfectly the same, right? Like you make a transparency and overlay them. They're perfectly the same. They're nearly perfectly symmetrical, right?
Oh, I thought they
per-
were perfectly symmetrical.
Well, I mean, perfect is probably the wrong word, right? So do you want me to get sub-pixel accuracy? So
So they're not perfectly symmetrical?
they're more symmetrical than the globe predicts. How do you like
Okay,
that?
how much would the globe predict it to be off by?
Okay, so since the angle resolution of the eye, right, is 0.07 degrees, and if we were to use the camera with
It's
a
like 1
greater
arc
angle
minute, isn't it?
resolution,
Is that
it just
0.07?
are you gonna let me? Why are you interrupting me?
I'm just clarifying.
You scared? Because you never
I'm
heard
just
this argument, and you don't have anything in the canned answer to whip out.
I'm just clarifying.
Okay,
If you have
so
trouble with that, then maybe just don't. Maybe speak more clearly. I don't know.
yeah, I'm speaking. Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
there's a distance at which that the reflection will stop being symmetrical with the sky. That distance, according to the globe on our Earth, the radius 3,959 miles, is 0.7 miles from the observer. The observer sees the horizon at least 3.2 miles away, right? So you have 2/3 of the distance between a point on the ground and further that should be distorted and get continually more distorted as it approaches the horizon. Okay.
Question.
As anybody knows, a curved mirror, okay, because we have this thing called the law of reflection.
I have a
Hold
question,
on.
if I can ask.
Yeah,
Let him finish.
You should
Yeah.
love this.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So
Yeah,
we
let him
have the law
finish.
so we have the law of reflection. So the angle of incidence equals the law of reflection. And because the surface is curved, every light ray is hitting the surface at a different angle, right? So you have diverging rays that reflect off the surface from any particular source. Any point that's in the sky, that light will hit the surface and the rays will diverge, okay? So if you have clouds or whatever's up in the sky, the sun or anything, that image will appear compressed compared to what you see directly by looking directly at it. Okay. This is not possible on a globe. You cannot have a symmetrical reflection on a curved mirror.
Right. So a few questions. So why'd you bring up the human eye when we're talking about camera photos?
Well, because a human eye is the worst, the best possible case.
But we're not talking about the human eye here. We're talking about photos because you haven't been there. Right? We're talking about photos that you've counted the pixels on, right?
Yeah. Photos, videos.
Right. So the human eye is irrelevant.
Okay. No. Okay.
Why is the
human eye is not irrelevant because using this is what's called where you go. I'm giving you the best case scenario. If we go with larger apertures, it gets worse for the globe, not better.
Sorry. So the calculation that you did for the human eye, not relevant. Do we agree on that?
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to do a new calculation for a larger aperture, and it's just going to get worse?
Well, yeah.
Dude.
And so
it's going to get better.
I'd actually like you to. It would be great if you could, I don't know, paste a link or something, or show me the calculation that you did to establish that the curvature should be visibly noticeable at a given distance. That would be great. I'd love to see that calculation. Can you provide it?
I only have it for the human eye right now.
Well, I'm not asking for the resolution, because the resolution, that you can just use Rayleigh's criterion to find the resolution, the ideal resolution anyway. I'm actually asking for the calculation.
Well, because you have to know
the curvature is visible, or that the distortion should be visible at 0.7 miles. Where did that calculation come from?
Okay, you need to know the smallest angle that you can resolve, right? The difference, right? Okay, so because because the beams diverge, right? So the rays diverge. If the rays diverge, what's the smallest angle of divergence I can detect? When I look directly at it, it looks like it's like 1 degree. What's the smallest difference in angle between that and the object I'm looking at that I can detect?
Well, so it's a little bit more complicated than that, because when you take a photo with a camera, what you're doing is you're actually projecting, what you might call like your field of view onto a flat screen. And so that projection is going to introduce additional angles. So the calculation is not as simple as how much does the angle actually diverge from the surface of a sphere. You need to do a little bit more work than that, especially because you're projecting a
I am well aware
view.
How to make this
okay, so that's why I want to see the calculation, so I can actually see how it works.
Okay, you're looking. So let me put it like this. Let's say we had a bunch of lines on this curved mirror, right? We just drew them. And we're trying to see the separation between the lines. there's a minimum separation that we can see based upon the angle that we can resolve. So by you look at it with a human eye,
based on the angle. Yeah, that's
so say
true.
they're parallel to the horizon, right? There's a bunch of
Mhm.
lines that go off into the distance. Now the
Mhm.
separation between any pair of lines, the angle. So for the human eye, if it was smaller than 0.02 degrees, it would look like one line instead of two lines. You agree with that?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I was
So
looking at something.
smaller than if the visual angle separating the two lines is smaller than the resolving power of the eye, it won't look like two separate
Yeah,
lines.
it'll look like one.
line.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, fantastic. Now, if I get a bigger aperture, right?
Yeah, you'll
so
be
that the
able to
angle
resolve them better. Sure.
That's right. They'll separate, right? You'll see two lines.
Yeah. So my
How
question
does
is,
increasing the aperture size
You
make the
can give me the
distortion
calcu- you-
less visible?
you can give me the calculation for the eye. I just want to see the calculation where you go from human eye resolution to 0.7 miles. I want to see that calculation.
Chat.
It's in the chat?
No, I'm gonna post it, dude.
Okay. Okay. Let me know when you've posted it.
Yeah. Hold on.
I wish I was better at Photoshop.
Yeah, you could work for NASA then.
Well, see, because I'm actually checking your claim that they match pixel for pixel, and it doesn't actually look like they do.
Did you measure it, or did you just call it?
I'm doing what you said, where you overlay one with the other, and then you change the opacity, right?
Yeah. So which one's smaller? Which one's larger?
Sorry, which one's smaller? Which one's larger?
Yeah, which one's
I'm
larger?
making them
Yeah, which one?
so. Well, they just
So you're
don't overlap. but
rescaling them? Why would you do that?
I'm working on it right now.
Why would you rescale them?
I haven't rescaled them yet.
Okay. You shouldn't rescale it at all.
I haven't. Oops. Okay, so now if I take this, let's see if I can overlap it. Oh no, they don't overlap. What a bummer.
Go ahead, post in the chat, dude. Go
Yeah,
for it.
okay.
You're gonna cook yourself, dude. You don't even realize it.
Here, let me take a screenshot. Can I can post screenshots into the chat, yeah?
Yeah, I assume so, yeah.
So for reference, what I did is I overlapped perfectly one of the clouds, and then I'm checking to see if the other clouds are the same.
Yeah. Can you tell us which is which is in the sky and which is on the ground?
Sorry, it's processing. One sec. Okay, I'm looking at your calculation, by the way. Okay, so we set the angular difference equal to the resolving power. So we have 2 theta is 0.
So this
was
degrees.
This is calculated. Okay, so you're converting it to degrees, fine. And therefore, okay, so you have it in radians rather. Then you calculate the distance. So you say that theta is the distance or is the vertical distance or the horizontal distance divided by the longitudinal distance, fine. Converting the rate. Oh, you didn't actually do any sort of projection math, did you?
No.
Oh, okay, so you didn't do what I asked you to do. So by the way, here's the picture that I sent.
You didn't ask me to do anything.
I asked for like the math.
So you want me to convert it into homogeneous coordinates?
Well, I want you to
coordinate.
I want you to.
You want me to convert it into homogeneous
calculation.
coordinates? Is that what you want?
That's one way you can do it. I want
you
to
said
do the
I didn't do
calculation.
any projection math.
Yeah,
that means you want it in
you didn't project it to the what's it called? The sensor. What is it called? The field of.
Okay, that's
sorry,
fine.
Please stop interrupting me.
I'm trying to clarify what you're saying, dude. Okay, what you want, what your complaint is. Okay, your complaint is that I didn't take the Euclidean geometry and convert it into projective geometry, such as homogeneous coordinates. Is that your complaint?
Basically, yeah. You didn't compute pixel location based off of the
I'll
angle.
get back. I'll do it when I feel like it. And I'll
Anyway,
get
so
back.
I pasted in the like overlaying of 2 different opacities. So I took the top, flipped it, and then I pasted it over the bottom, and I made one set of clouds in the middle overlap. And you notice that the farther away they get from the middle, the bigger the deviation.
Okay, of the top or the bottom?
I didn't change the top at all. I just took the top and overlaid it on the bottom and changed the opacity.
Okay, that's fine.
Mhm.
Which gets the store? Which stretches, the top or the bottom? Trying to figure out.
It just
trying to figure it out, and you just cooked
depends on
yourself,
which way.
dude, just like I said.
The clouds are in different places, so it's not a perfect It's not perfectly symmetrical. There's a distortion away from the
in the wrong direction. The distortion's in the wrong direction.
They just shouldn't.
The mirror should appear compressed.
The mirror should appear compressed.
That's right.
Why should the mirror appear compressed?
Oh my God. Guess what? I'll just show
you.
And
by the way,
I'll just show you photographs.
What we're actually talking about is we're talking about the position. The individual clouds are not big enough that we can actually see the change in size at all. It's just the relative change in position of like the individual points on the cloud. And so what we're actually so what we're seeing is that the sky, it seems like the images in the sky, I'm looking at it right now, it's kind of hard to tell. It looks like the images in the sky are further apart than the images down below. And one way you can see this in the image that I attached is that if you look on the left, there's a if you look down here, that bottom bit, I don't know if you can see what I'm saying, but that bottom bit is from the sky. So the point is if you look on the left, all of the parts that are lower, those are from the sky rather than from the ground. So it looks like, yeah, it actually does look like the image is compressed as you want, right? So why is it
I guess I'll take your word for it. I can't see what you're doing. So
well, I mean, just look at the thing and then look at the overlap in the bottom left, and you'll see that there's like not.
I am not watching your screen, buddy. Like
I'm not showing. No, it's in the
here.
image that I pasted for you. I put it into the chat.
In the FE stage.
Yeah.
In the stage.
Scroll up. It was right below what you right below what you sent.
Dude with the top hat.
What?
Oh, that image?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know where you got this one.
I literally made it 5 minutes ago.
No, dude, I do not even know if this is a photograph. Look at the color.
It is a photograph.
Are you sure? Because there's a lot of like what would you call it? Photoshop art of the Bolivian salt flats that aren't actual photos.
So hold on, actually explain this to me. If this was fake, why wouldn't they match perfectly?
I didn't say fake.
If it was photoshopped, why wouldn't they match perfectly?
Did you get this from a place that said the Bolivian salt flats?
I got it from a website that's in Spanish, and I found it on Google search when I searched Bolivian salt flats. I mean, I can do it again for another one, but now it's really, really funny because now what you're saying is oh well, if you do it for,
I never use.
If you do it for these, okay. So which ones do you use? We can do this for any of them.
Dude, hey, here's a cool one. Want to see a video?
Well,
do you want?
I mean, we can screen grab the video if you want.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, I'll get your screenshot.
Because I just did what you asked me to do, right? All I did was I just took a photo from the Bolivian salt flats, and then I took the top half, inverted it over the bottom half.
You just took a photo off the internet, dude.
Okay, so where do you think it's from then, my guy?
So if I don't know where it's from the Bolivian salt flats.
Well, no, I mean, it looks like all of the other pictures at the Bolivian salt flats. So like I don't know.
No, it looks kind of similar, but look at the blue of the sky. Does that look like a normal color to you? Look at the color of the blue of the sky. Does that look like a normal photo to you?
Your own piece of
does that look like a normal
sky
color to you?
It looks like it absolutely could have been like color corrected to make it look more pretty. But just to be clear, we took your best piece of flat Earth evidence. I just took the first photo that I found, applied it to, and it fell flat.
No, good try though. Good try. This was not my evidence. This was some shit you pulled off the internet.
Okay, so do you want to provide a?
Then, yeah, I just did.
Okay, where's the? Hold on, where's the link? I don't see it. Oh, okay. All right.
Here's one. I'll get you a photograph.
It's really low resolution. Can you find a better one so that I can, because like I can hardly even see like the edges of the clouds.
Hold on, I'll find you one. Hold on, give me a second.
Also, by the way, before I actually even did this calculation, I was wondering if you've accounted for camera distortion, and I was wondering if you've accounted for any atmospheric distortion in your... Yeah, like all these
atmospheric
things.
distortion.
Yeah,
What's
have
that?
you accounted for any of these? You know what atmospheric distortion is, right?
Well, I know what it is theoretically.
Do you not think that the atmosphere distorts images?
Oh, I would say it distorts the way things look outside of the camera. Yeah, sure. Turbulence.
So cameras
sure.
don't see atmospheric distortion?
It's called turbulence. That's the name of it. It's not called atmospheric distortion.
Turbulence is a description of a type of fluid motion, and turbulence can cause atmospheric distortion. But atmospheric distortion is just the general name for a broad category of phenomena where things appear to look different.
That's a cool
as a result
story,
of
and you
the
say that so authoritatively,
gaseous
but you don't
haze.
know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about pretty well.
No, you don't. So this is well known within.
But that's called poisoning
laser
the well.
optics, atmospheric measurement, surveying. It's called turbulence. Okay.
No, turbulence.
not just
Turbulence is a
fluid
type of fluid
dynamic.
flow.
Okay. No, not in this
Yeah.
sense. No, it's
That's just what
way
the word
it's
means. It's a
modeled
type of
within
fluid flow.
Okay, it can be. That's under the umbrella of turbulence. This is like a word context fallacy. In the context I'm talking about, there's inhomogeneities within the air of varying shapes and sizes in any optical path. They could be a kilometer in size. They could be freaking like little bubbles, freaking meter in size.
Absolutely.
They could be small. They could be smaller than that. But that's not a flow. Okay, it's not modeled as a flow. It's usually modeled as a.
That's not turbulence either.
That's
turbulence
how it's
is not
that's
inhomogeneities.
Call it. Okay. That's what they call it in the field of surveying, right? Maybe you call it that in your mathematical physics that don't exist somewhere else, but in the field, the people that actually do this stuff, that's what they call it. Okay. They called it when the Air Force shot a laser from one Hawaiian island to the other. They're modeling turbulence.
Okay. So then we just are using the word differently. Fine. The point is did you account for that in your calculations?
No, you're using the word differently than the way they use it in academia, and you're trying to play
the way that it's used in academia is a type of fluid flow. Okay, you're talking about in the field. They use it a different way in the field, like amongst surveyors, which is fine. Yeah. Words have different meanings in different contexts. Right.
Not just surveyors.
You said surveyors.
That's one.
Okay, so when physicists talk about turbulence, they're referring to a specific type of fluid flow.
Okay, so characterization of atmospheric turbulence effects over 149
atmospheric turbulence
effects.
The effects of
using
atmospheric turbulence.
Multi-wavelength laser propagation.
You're doing it. Bingo. These are the effects of atmospheric turbulence, which is exactly what I said. That atmospheric turbulence can cause
fluid flow,
atmospheric
but they
distortions.
Don't model it as don't model it as a
turbulence is the fluid flow.
Okay. No, they're not modeling it as a fluid flow. They're modeling it as inhomogeneities in the air. Okay. That's how they're modeling it. Yes, so, in the air. I can send you diagrams.
So turbulent fluid flow can cause inhomogeneities.
Good. Have you read any literature on this?
Yeah. On like optics?
Yeah,
sure.
That was a real confident, yeah.
I mean, like I can show you a paper that I look at fairly frequently if you want. It's a paper published in an optics journal. I can show you some papers that I've read with regards to atmospheric what is it? That calculation of the what is it called? It's Gauss's coefficient, I think is what it's called. It's the thing that it's the letter K that's used to refer to the there's a word for it and I'm blanking on it.
Okay, so you haven't, dude. This is
I can pull up the paper for you if you want.
That's great. You probably never read it. This is just smoke and mirrors.
I literally did. That's why I have it in my reference.
You're trying to play, and you've been trying to play this. Don't talk. I know more than this guy because there's 3 letters behind my name. I didn't give you my background, and I'm not gonna give it to you.
I don't.
But you
I
don't know what
need
you're
your
talking
background.
about.
I didn't bring up my background at all.
No, you
So the letter that I was
anyway,
looking for, I'm
moving
sorry,
on.
it was
So
the refraction
character-
coefficient. That was the word I was looking for. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the refract is an ad hoc nonsense, dude.
Well, I mean, it's just a coefficient. It's a way that you can measure, like,
Yeah, it's coefficient
can
based upon what?
accumulate-
Relative to what?
it's coefficients don't have to be relative to something. Coefficients are numbers that describe certain properties.
It is a coefficient,
equations.
but it is in this case, right?
Well, it's trying to quantify the amount of atmospheric refraction. That's what the coefficient does.
Okay.
And
No,
like,
it's
here's
telling you the deviation from the prediction of what you would expect if you had a straight light ray on an Earth of radius 3,959 miles.
okay, if you want to say that, that's fine. I'm just
That's
telling
what
you what
it
the
is.
refraction coefficient is about. The refraction coefficient is trying to quantify how much light bends in the atmosphere.
No.
Like, do you have trouble with that? You have a problem with
I
that?
have trouble with
By
your
the way, I'm still waiting for the
characterization of it.
video. I'm still waiting for the video that you can send me so I can do the flipping thing.
I already posted it a long time ago.
I asked for a different one because it was too low
Oh,
resolution. I couldn't see the clouds. Maybe
Okay.
it was because you uploaded it to it was like a GIF that you uploaded to. Just post a link to YouTube or something.
Well, why? I don't know why you just can't like make a dividing line at the horizon and just see if it's symmetrical. Like, you
Because
have
the
their
the
reflection,
video that
right?
you posted, I don't know if this is a result of like because it's being passed through Discord or something, but the video that you posted is so low resolution that I can't even see what the edges of the clouds are. Yeah, like like this is like 480p. Like we need sharp edges to compare, right?
You think I'm gonna forget about what we just talked about? You got nothing coming, dude. I don't forget.
I asked for a better video like 15 minutes ago and you still haven't
That-
provided
that's-
it. It sounds like you're running away from it.
Jesus Christ, dude. Y'all's gimmicks, dude, is all the same. It doesn't matter how
Where's
many
the
I
video?
talk to you, dude. It's always
Where's the
it's
evidence?
always the same rhetoric.
So when I
Here-
actually
here's a
analyzed
screenshot.
one of these pictures,
Yeah,
high
more meta.
resolution- Oh, you have a okay screenshot. Great. Let me take this. I'm gonna grab this really quick, and then we'll put it into GIMP, and we'll do the flippy thing, and we'll see how it looks. Is that fair?
Yeah, fine. Yeah. So, what was I talking about?
That's a great question.
Oh, the K constant, right? The
Mhm.
so-called K coefficient is based upon it's a coefficient relative to a presumed globe. And the reason they use it is that if you use this K coefficient, you match it to what's the size of a globe. Say you had a globe of your K coefficient is, what they use 7.6R, right? So 7.6 times the radius. What you do is you just take a globe, make it 7.6 sides of what the globe is, and then you just use straight rays and see what happens there. So this is just reverse engineering some observation
Where's-
and then applying a K coefficient. It's literally ad hoc. It's
So
nonsense.
just to be clear, you asked me about papers that I had read, and I gave you an example.
Yeah, but it's ad hoc. You gave me probably you probably read it from which one is it?
No, I found it myself. I've
Not-
actually never
not
heard
Hurt, from
I've
her.
actually never seen a glober refer to this paper. So it's kind of like a really nice.
What's it called? The reciprocal zenith angle one? Is that it?
Nope, that's not the name of the paper.
What's
It
the
is
name?
called
I probably read it.
monitoring the refraction coefficient in the lower atmosphere using a controlled setup of simultaneous reciprocal vertical angle measurements.
That's what I just said.
The title.
Reciprocal
You
zenith
got the
angles.
title wrong. It doesn't say any. It
So
doesn't say
what,
anything
dude?
about reciprocal zenith angles.
Yeah,
It says
I read-
reciprocal
it's-
vertical
it's-
angle measurements
It's
by
published in
Christian Hertz, Sebastian
2010.
Guillaume. Yep. that one.
I also just said that.
Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
I also said by Hurt. I said that
Okay, so I'm pulling up this.
30 seconds ago. I read it a long time ago. Okay.
Okay, cool.
So-
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for reading.
Fantastic. Okay.
Just quickly, guys. Sorry to
Yep.
interrupt. It's been quite a bit over the time that you guys wanted for the
Okay.
the first hour. You guys can keep going as long as you want. I'm just letting you know. And also, we've got AV who wanted to come up next to have a chat, but he was asking Planet Peterson, who we've got in the side chat. Blitz, do you know Planet Peterson?
I do.
Yeah, so he was AV was asking if he could come up and there could be a little bit of a 2-on-2 conversation happening, but I think
Hey,
Planet
I got a
Peterson-
better idea. I got a better idea.
So by the
How
way, I
about
just took the image that
Lockheed-
you did. Just
Yeah, okay.
as a quick point, I just took the image that you did, that you posted, and I flipped it, and they don't overlap perfectly.
Cool story, bro. Anyway, They don't overlap perfectly? Oh my
No, they
God.
don't. There's distortions
What the
away.
heck?
Like if you try to overlap two things, there are distortions on one side as opposed to the other side. I can screen cap the.
On one side is vertically
you-
or horizontally?
Both.
Okay. And?
So they don't match up. The top one
Okay,
is bigger
and?
than the top one is bigger than the smaller one. It looks like. So cool story.
top one is
Your
bigger
evidence
than
is
the
wrong.
smaller one.
Your evidence
My
is bad and
evidence-
wrong, I guess.
My evidence is wrong. So
Well, yeah. I mean,
why
this
don't
is
you
the good example, right?
I'll make sure I get the correct calculations for you.
Please.
And I'm going to show you them. And will you concede when it shows that the distortion should be easily visible to any human being with a camera or with a human eye?
Sure. If you can do the calculations,
Sure,
sure.
you'll concede.
If that's what the calculations say, sure.
Okay. So, DJ, I have another suggestion. Me and unless Blitz wants to stay up here, we drop out and AB and Planet Peterson go at it.
So I'm
If
scheduled
that's amenable
for.
to
So
everybody.
I'm gonna be live for another hour and a half. If nobody else wants to have a conversation with me, that's fine. I'll just drop out and I'll do my own thing on YouTube and TikTok and bring up other guests from elsewhere.
Well, I kind of like it that we have the interaction of like everybody in here. So if you're gonna be on that long, I don't know how
Okay.
long Planet Peterson's gonna take, but maybe he can give us a part of his time too.
I honestly wasn't even planning on coming up. I was typing and I got the invitation and I hit spacebar and for some reason that like accepted the invite.
Yeah, it's impromptu, I know, but I think it'd make for a good conversation if we can all be able to have it. I think it's great 2v2 material. So if you want, you can fire up your social media, probably get some impromptu kind of content going, and Blitz PhD can.
So
contact his
I
people
was
too.
the plan was just to do 1v1s. I don't often do 2v2s, and I'd rather not. So if we want to,
I'm not planning on participating in anything either. So
Really, aren't you guys from the same perspective that the Earth is a globe?
we both
I'm
think the
kinda confused
look.
here.
I only do 1v1 debates. That's just what I do.
Oh,
So
Okay.
I saw you in a 2v2 debate though.
yeah,
when
we're used to all
Witz,
types.
you and McGoldpace versus Witsit and Caleb.
oh yeah, that was like over a year ago. Yeah, so like
That
when
was
I'm
a
doing,
fundraiser.
You didn't do that, but you did. Do
So
it.
so I do live streams 5
He
days a
never
week
does it
in the
anymore.
morning.
Oh, anymore.
So on my own live streams, when I'm doing my own live streams, I only talk to one person at a time. So if there's some scheduled some scheduled event like separate from my own standard live streaming time, I'm happy to do whatever. That's not what this is. At least that wasn't the intent. I never bring up guests
Well-
like friendlies or whatever on my own live streams. It's just not a thing I do.
I got a sad clown face now. But here the problem is, dude, like we're trying to get to the heart of the issue. And it seems like throughout your discourse with Indio, you didn't provide or substantiate that the Earth is a globe in any way, shape, or form. As a matter of fact, it was to the contrary. According to your epistemological worldview, or saying that the Earth cannot be a globe based on the fact that you could not know that it is one. So,
Sorry. So wait a minute. Hold on. So I'm happy to talk to AV, but
sure.
if we're going to
Yeah,
do that,
I'll
I'd prefer it to be
swap out.
1v1. Is that fair?
I gotta use the little boy's room.
Yeah, that's good. It seems like Planet Peterson's not keen, but look, just quickly, Planet Peterson, would you like to, come back another time? We could set something like this up with you.
Yeah. You could choose me, Planet, if you like.
I don't know. Maybe somebody DM me.
Yeah, I'll
Hey,
DM you, man.
Indigo, remember when you said that I go outside, it looks flat, therefore it is flat was a
Yeah, you're
valid
talking to Indio,
syllogism?
though, but I thought you said you.
No, I
you-
said that was a valid axiom.
Well, he wants to engage, though.
No.
All right,
I
let's
asked-
pick
I
that up
asked you
another
for
time. Let's have
syllogism, and that's what you
AV have
said.
a chat with
Let's
Blitz
pick that up
because
another time.
Blitz
This is
was the
time.
one that was supposed to
See you
be.
later.
Yeah, we'll pick that up another time.
It wouldn't be a syllogism because it doesn't have two premises. I would never say that. Fucking dumb to even say something like that. I didn't say
So
that.
AV, what
I
was
said-
your view? What was your point?
Well, my point was that from off the rip, from the very beginning of the top of this conversation, you provided no substantiation to the Earth being a globe. And as a matter of fact, you diverted away from that, and you actually proved that you can't actually ascertain any information empirically based on your worldview. So you couldn't substantiate the Earth being a globe if you tried, sir. Based on the fact
So
that you can't know.
my
you don't-
standard for
you-
truth
you
is different
said-
from
you
yours?
said- yeah, let me just let me just lay it out for you.
I mean,
right?
if you're going to
You
straw
said
man
you're
me,
not a-
that's
you're not.
I'm,
It's not
I'm
a
not going to be
straw
happy
man.
about that.
It's
It
an
is a straw man,
observation
but go
of-
ahead.
It's an observation of your conversation, right? So the conversation you were having, and these are your words, not mine. You said, "I'm not an absolutist," yet you
Yep.
use words like determine. And so, in order
Yep.
to use that framework, when you're saying I'm going to determine something, then you know it. Now, if you don't know it, you can't determine, which is your worldview. You can't determine.
So that
So
I mean that
there's
is
there seems
if
to
you
be a
want me to
paradox
clarify, I
within
can
the
clarify.
construct of your
That's not
conversation.
so when I say determine, when I say no, I'm not invoking these in absolute senses.
Really? In
No.
what sense are you invoking them then?
High credence.
High credence.
Yeah.
So it's a high probability. So that means that you don't
Well, it's
actually
credence.
know.
Credence and probability aren't
Yeah,
the same thing.
yeah,
When I
you
say
don't
no,
actually-
when I say no, I don't mean it in an absolute sense. That's just not what I mean.
Okay, so 100% sure that the Earth is a globe is not anything you're saying.
I'm not 100% sure of anything, except perhaps
so then
that I
that
exist.
includes the Earth being a globe, correct? Including the Earth
Yeah,
being a globe.
absolutely. I'm as sure that the Earth is a globe as I am that I have hands.
Okay, so that means that you know that the Earth is a globe because you actually
Yeah,
have hands. If you
in the
do
same
have
way that I
hands, yeah?
know, in the same way that I know I have hands, I know the Earth is a globe.
Okay, so that means that's claiming absolute knowledge.
Nope, it's not. That's just not what I mean by
Okay, so
no.
okay, if you have a hand and you put it right in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
are you saying that's not your hand? 100%.
My point is that I don't think that you can have absolute certainty about these kinds of claims.
Really? So you don't absolutely know that a hand is in front of you if
I
your
have
hand is
I have a
actually out in
wildly
front of
high
your
degree of
face?
certainty, yeah, but I am not going to claim
Wildly high
100%.
degree- No, sir, it's important for the audience. Why would you say
Are you
it's
not
only a
familiar with
level
like
of
epistemic
certainty?
humility?
Yeah, I am. But see, the problem is you're using a worldview that borrows from a worldview that's laying a foundation for knowledge, and that is
No, I'm not
what
borrowing
India
from.
was
I'm not
describing
borrowing.
to
I'm
you.
not borrowing
Yes,
from
you
the
are.
Christian worldview at all. I'm not.
No, it's not a Christian worldview. It's a worldview.
I mean, it
where
comes from like
everything's-
you're getting it from Jay Dyer too. I understand that.
Jay Dyer is whoever he is. I don't really know who that guy is. Indio
I'm sure.
might know. I don't follow these guys.
Okay.
I only follow logic and reason.
So what
and you're
worldview am I
not
borrowing
actually
from?
doing that. Let's see. It could be a fallibilist position. It could be a nihilistic position. Any of these characteristics might be something that you're akin to, like, talking about, which is like what you're saying.
I'm not
right
a
now.
nihilist.
You can't know anything to be true 100%. So that means,
I'm not a nihilist.
including the globe, you don't know if it's 100% globe. So
Yeah, that's why I
everybody else
use
that's listening
analogies.
to- yeah,
That's
so
why I use
Blitz,
analogies. Please
so
stop
from a-
stop speaking for
from a
myself.
standpoint-
Stop speaking for what I know.
From a standpoint
That's why I
of
use
a
language like
PhD
I know.
individual-
AV,
Yeah, thank
please,
you for
please stop
interrupting me.
speaking.
Thank you for
You've
interrupting
been
me.
Quick time
steamrolling
up,
me.
guys.
Quickly.
AV and Blitz. Just
AV.
1 second, guys. AV, I just wanted to mention your mic volume is like half of what Blitz's is.
is
If
it
you're able
really?
to,
So
yeah,
DJ,
that's a
please
bit better.
control AV. He's been strawmanning my
let me
position and not letting me
control.
actually elaborate on my own position.
Yeah, look, both people like try to let the other one finish talking, and
He's just
Yeah.
been steamrolling, telling me what I believe
Alright,
without letting me
just let
elaborate
them-
on what I
hold on a
believe.
second.
let me-
We're going to reset. We're going to start again. Hopefully, AV's volume's a bit higher now.
Yeah,
and we
can
can
you hear me now?
continue. And yes,
Test
yeah,
1, 2.
that's much better. Way better, man.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, and both guys, please try not to interrupt.
Yeah.
Well,
so as I
if
was
he's going
saying,
to strawman,
as I
I'm
was
going
saying
to
before,
interrupt. I'm not
before he
going to
jumped
let him
into me,
misrepresent my viewpoint.
I wanted him to define what he said he knows based on his worldview, because what he says is a high probability is not a knowledge claim. That is just something
That
he
is a
says
knowledge
he
claim.
can
That's what I mean by the word no.
Yeah, subjectively interpret based on what he thinks.
That's what I mean by the
knowing
word
is.
no. If you mean something else, that's on you. When I say no,
Yeah.
what I mean is that I have a high degree of certainty.
Yeah.
And
So
that
then,
it's a
so
true
what
proposition, of
so
course,
what that
and it's
interprets to
justified.
be is that you don't actually know, like what we're saying.
I don't know
with
what you mean by
absolute-
actually
with
know. When you
absolute-
say
I'm
actually know,
telling
that
you.
just means
I'm telling you,
Blitz.
but thank you for steamrolling
like,
me.
We're going to
You've
take
been
a
telling
pause
me
for a
about my own
second.
worldview
Blitz,
for
you are over
10 minutes.
talking.
He's
Hold
been-
on a second,
look,
dude. One
DJ,
second. One second.
DJ, he's been
No.
steamrolling me about
Hold
my
on
own
a
worldview.
second. Yeah, look, if he says something that you don't agree with, right, just wait until he's finished and
He
then
hasn't
address
stopped
it.
talking.
And then he's not allowed to interrupt you while you're addressing that at the end. Otherwise, it's just going to be chaos.
Okay, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll just
Thank
steamroll
you.
him about his own worldview too, and then he can't interrupt me when I do it. That's fine.
All right, let's just continue.
All right. So going back to you saying that you're claiming no absolute knowledge of knowing that the Earth is 100% a globe, I think gives the audience already an indication that you don't know if the Earth is an actual globe. You just believe it to be so with a high probability. That is a problem based on those who are explaining that the Earth is a certain set size of dimensions, right? It's got a radius, got a diameter, a circumference. All these numeric values have been established according to your paradigm with knowledge that actually is already something determined by the size of the Earth. Now, if you're saying there's a high probability of it being that, then how can we know that the Earth is a globe with these values? Go ahead.
Yeah, so whenever I say something like no, I'm referring to a high degree of probability, right? So when I say that I know the Earth has a radius of roughly 4,000 miles, what I'm saying is that with a high degree of probability, I'm confident that this is the state of affairs of the world, right? That the Earth actually does have that many, a radius of 4,000-ish miles, right? That's what I'm always saying when I use words like no. When I use words like, well, not necessarily believe. There are things I believe that have lower probability, but that's what I'm saying. So if you're going to make the claim that I don't know the Earth is a globe, well, by that same definition, by your definition of no, of some sort of absolute certainty, which is like a crazy epistemic lack of humility. But then in that sense, I don't know that I have hands. But I would say I know that I have hands because I have a high degree of credence in something that is absolutely, or that is likely to be true rather. A high degree of credence, justification, in a proposition that I believe is true. That's what I define to be knowledge. So if you are complaining about the way that I'm using no, and you're complaining that it doesn't agree with the way that you're using no, I would suggest that you take a look at your own worldview and then ask, how can you get out of the ultra nihilistic worldview if you require absolute certainty about everything? Because if you require absolute certainty, just like India was failed to do, you can't get out of ruling out that you don't live in a vat, that you're not a brain in a vat, right? Because you can't know that this isn't a hallucination with 100% certainty anyway. You can't know that you have hands with 100% certainty anyway. And if you're going to claim that you do know that, then you have to provide justifications. And I'm just going to ask, how do you know that? With 100% certainty for every single one of your claims. And you'll either end up in an infinite regress, which you won't be happy with, or you'll end up with something that's not justified and then you don't know it. So I think that it's actually probably better. You should probably take the move that, yeah, we can be epistemically humble and recognize that there are some things that we're not 100% certain about. In fact, most things that we're not 100% certain about. And that's fine. That's a fine standard for knowledge.
You done?
Yeah, I talked for like 30 seconds. You talked for like 4 minutes.
I don't think so. Your word count far exceeded mine. Anyways,
I talk faster than you.
Yeah, that's why it exceeded mine. All right, so the problem that we're having here is that from the beginning of the conversation, from you even entering this chat, from you being a PhD of any whatever you do, right, field that you work in, you're not able to substantiate or provide any evidence with unequivocal proof that the Earth is an actual globe. So you don't have that based on your worldview and epistemology of what you're saying that the Earth is. So all we're left with at the end of the day is your best guess. Well, tell you what, so does everybody else that thinks that the Earth is a globe. We're only given their best guess. That's all we have. And at the end of the day, we're trying to figure out if it actually is or not a globe. And you, being a PhD that other people look up to and appeal to, are one who cannot prove with 100% that the Earth is a globe. So that to you and to everybody else that looks up to you is going to feel like you left them wanting more. That's you, though. You can walk away from this stage today knowing that you didn't provide evidence that the Earth is an actual globe. You just gave a high probability that your idea could be a case of it being true if an imaginary globe were to exist. That's it.
So to be clear, you're right. I didn't provide proof because we didn't make a deductive argument. I did provide evidence. The Minos experiment is evidence. It's actually really compelling evidence. In fact, it's so compelling that it should shoot your credence like way up into the 99.9 etc. % credence for a particular view. Like it's wildly compelling evidence for basically anybody who thinks and takes themselves seriously. So you're right. I don't offer unequivocal proof when we're doing science because that would be epistemically arrogant. And one of the businesses of doing science is that we remain epistemically humble so that we are open to new data. We are open to new ideas. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't come to a conclusion that is very, very, very likely to be true. That's the whole business of science. We refine, and we get to more and more likely to be true ideas. But if you're going to come and make the claim that, oh, you can't come to absolute certainty about anything, well, I challenge you. Prove with absolute certainty. Provide the proof, not evidence, the proof, the deductive proof that you have hands.
Yeah, I can give you a deductive proof of something
Please.
that with absolute certainty.
No, prove that
I'm
you
gonna
have
use a
hands.
different- I'm gonna use a different example.
No, I want you to
I'll use
prove
a
that you have
different-
hands.
Yeah, I'm not gonna use your example. You can
Okay,
use
so
your
you're going to
example.
run
I'm not
away.
gonna
Prove
use your
that, so you
example.
can't
No,
prove
no,
that you
no.
have hands? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I'm gonna use. Yeah, I can.
Okay, then
I
do it.
can. So it's simple. I have hands, right? And let's say we meet in person, because this is going to be an example you want me to prove to you, right? I put my hand on your shoulder. I can push you with my hand. I can show other people my hands, and I can move things with my hands. They interact with the world outside that I'm interacting with. So they interact with the world, right? Anything that my hands touch, make it seem like my hands can do things that if I didn't have hands, I couldn't do. So me having hands proving to you and to the rest of the world is an absolute truth. It's not just me conjuring up an imagination that I have hands. It's absolutely provable by me demonstrating that I have hands, because I can place my hand on your shoulder and move you with my hands. My hands are real in every sense of the word real is. Now, you denying that fact and saying that it's just a conjuring of your imagination, it's just some fallacious reasoning that you've fallen into because you've been thinking about how people can think of an existence far beyond the one that you have right now. So this is your mental construct that you've fallen into, and it's a pitfall, right?
So
that's you, not us.
So I'm gonna
I
just
proved
get,
it
so I
unequivocally.
wrote down what you said, and I think I summarized it. So you have premise one: I can put my hand on your shoulder, I can push you with my hand, I can show other people my hand, they interact with the world outside. Premise two: me having hands is absolutely provable. Conclusion: my hands are real. Now, what inference rule are you using there to come to the conclusion that my hands are real from premise one and premise two?
These are absolute facts. They're statements made by observation and
What's the
also
inference
test.
rule?
So what am I inferring?
Well, so
That I
a
have
deductive
hands? Is that
proof.
what you're saying?
A deductive proof starts from premises and follows some sort of inference rule to come to a conclusion. So what's the inference rule that you're using to go from
dude,
premise
like,
one, I can put my hands
listen.
on your shoulder. Premise
Yeah,
two,
let's
me
put it
having
this way.
hands is absolutely provable. Conclusion, my hands
it
are
is.
real.
So you're saying that hands aren't real. That would be your
Nope,
argument
that's not what I'm
against me
saying.
having hands. So
Nope.
the point is, in reality, if I say I have hands and I don't have hands, that'd be a problem. But if I say I have hands and I do things with my hands, and I can see my hands and I can move things with my hands and they interact with the world outside, then yes, I have hands. For all intents and purposes, my hands do
what's the
exist
first
and they're
premise?
real.
So what's the first premise of your deductive argument?
My hands exist in the physical world.
My hands exist in the physical world. Okay,
Yes.
what's your second premise? I'm
That
just
my
writing it
hands
down.
my hands can move things in the physical world. They not only do they exist in the physical world, but they can move things.
Okay, so
they can interact with the physical world.
premise one, my hands exist in the physical world. Premise two, my hands can move things in the physical world. Are there more premises, or is it just a conclusion now? What's the next stage?
When you're interacting with the physical world and everybody can see,
Is this
that
a
your
premise or
hands
is this a
are-
conclusion?
Yeah, if you see that your hands are existing, then the conclusion would be that because you substantiated, you didn't just say that you had hands.
If you
didn't
see
just
that
test-
your hands
you didn't just test that you
are
had hands.
existing,
You also,
then you can substantiate that you have hands.
So let's put it this way. If I say I see a dog outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't prove
Wait, what's
that
the
there was a
conclusion
dog.
from the?
If I listen, dude. If I said that there was a dog outside and I didn't prove that there was one outside, then that's me showing that it's just in my imagination. I could have conjured it up in my own thoughts. But if
So
I
what's the
can show you
conclusion of
there's
the
an
argument?
actual dog that's outside, then it's not in my imagination any longer. We're interacting with the thing that I said was there. It is actually there. There is
So,
a dog outside.
Just to be clear, so you have premise one, my hands exist in the physical world. Premise two, my hands can move things in the physical world. Premise three, if you see that your hands are existing, then you could substantiate that you have hands. What's the conclusion of the deduction?
My hands are real.
Okay.
Not an imagination of my.
So we have
brain
three
thought.
premises. We have three premises and a conclusion. What's the inference rule that allows you to go from premise one, premise two, and premise three to the conclusion?
Dude, I mean, is this going to be more of you just trying to say that? What am I inferring to say that my hands are existing?
Well, no. The point is
physical
you're
world?
not capable of making a deductive argument. In fact, you don't even
What,
know
that
what a
my hands are
deductive
real?
argument is. Yeah,
Yeah.
you failed
Your
to do that
hands
twice
are
now.
real, dude.
What's
Your
the
hands are
deductive
real.
argument?
You can clap your hands. They make a sound.
They
like,
seem,
everything
they definitely
you do
seem real. That means they're real.
No, they definitely
That's what
seem
you're doing.
real. Well, they
That's what you're
are
doing.
real, dude. You fall
Okay,
into
what's
the
the
pitfall
deductive
of thinking
argument?
imagination is the only
What's
thing
the
you can hold
deductive
to.
argument?
That
How are
your
you
hands
deducing?
interact with the physical world. Now think about it like this.
That's a
If-
proposition. That's not an
Yeah,
argument.
that's really. So you're saying that if I'm telling you that my interaction with the physical world is not real, then where does that leave us?
AV,
You and
to
me.
quote a friend, I don't think you have the boots for this hike. You really shouldn't be engaging in like philosophical
Yeah,
absolutism
you don't have
here.
the boots for this hike doesn't mean that you can't substantiate the thing that you're saying. I am.
No, I
Because
just
you're
don't
trying
think
to
that you
make
know
a-
what a deductive
yeah.
argument is. I don't think that
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
it
yeah,
means to
you
come to
just saying-
absolute
listen, bro.
conclusions from
Yeah,
premises.
listen, yes,
I don't
it's a
think you know what
conclusion.
any of that
It's
means.
an absolute conclusion that if I tell you I have hands, think about it like this. It's very basic and simple, right? If somebody says they have something, like, oh, I don't know, they say, I have a rock. And you're like, you don't have a rock. And then they hand you a rock and you inspect this rock and you see it and you're like, oh, it is a rock. By definition of what you said a rock is, this is what this is. I'm holding it in my hands. It's not an imagination that I just conjured up. It's not these boots that I'm trying to hike up a mountain of imagination. No, this is an actual rock. These are my actual hands. And when I interact with the world in the physical sense, I'm moving things physically. This is not some kind of mental construct that you're making up to make it sound like these are all just our thoughts. No, there's real things that exist outside of your own perception.
Can you describe to me what a proof is?
Oh my gosh, dude. Like, what do you think the world that you live in is, dude? You think it's a simulation? Do you think that all of these things that you're doing right now are just
This is called an
figments
internal
of your
critique is what we're
imagination?
doing right now.
Yeah,
We're
an
doing
internal critique
critique of your worldview.
Yeah, you haven't done one of yourself. Why would you allow it to be done on something that's absolute statements? Like,
So are you
things that
telling
being
me
real?
that you're not willing to be internally critiqued?
I have been. You have been doing that.
But-
Now let's shift the focus back onto
okay,
you.
so
Let's shift it. I've already
we
done
can
that.
shift the
I've
focus. I
answered
just
some
want
of
to
your
summarize
questions.
what happened
I'm
really
shifting
quick.
it now to you.
So
Yeah,
so we
it
can
happened-
shift. So
it happened that I
AV,
proved my
AV.
hands were real.
AV, we can shift it really quick. I just want to summarize what just happened. So what happened is that AV failed to understand what a deductive argument is, failed to demonstrate that the
cares,
argument he
dude? I
provided was
demonstrated that my
actually
hands were
leading
real
to the
in
conclusion via
real life.
valid inference rule. So he actually didn't demonstrate with 100% certainty that his hands are real. He doesn't even know
really?
how to do that even in principle.
Yeah, really.
So it's fine
when I'm
if you don't know how to
telling
do
you-
that. You
yeah,
can be
no, dude.
epistemically humble
Yeah,
like me
that's
and
great.
be not an
Epistemically.
absolute,
You wouldn't know
be a
epistemically, dude, if
non-absolutist
it
about
hit you on
truth.
the head, bro,
And we
'cause
can
you would think
we
it's
can
a
go
figment
ahead
of your
and you can
imagination.
We have to
investigate my
take a
worldview now.
reset. Sorry to interrupt. We're going to have to try to get it back on topic. Maybe move past this particular thing. Right.
Sure.
So we've already established you think you can't prove anything. AV has a different opinion on that. Let's try to get it back to the actual shape of the
Yeah.
Earth topic.
So the shape of
Yeah,
the
that's a
earth
good idea.
is something that's been proposed to the people of the earth and everybody who's listening to the information that the earth is an actual globe, don't really know if it's a globe or not. And this gentleman who's a PhD would just go into I guess
Oh, he's
illogical circles.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry to interrupt,
then
DJ.
say-
He's
to
doing
then say,
meta
no, but
again.
you're not going to interrupt because I can
He's-
do what I
he's
want.
doing the
and I can
meta
say
again.
This, the meta is actually you trying to come into this room.
He's doing
and
the meta
actually
again. He's
have a
saying, "Oh, he
stance.
doesn't actually
Yeah,
know. He doesn't
you wanna
actually
have
know
a
because
stance,
his
dude.
epistemology
You
is
wanna
bad." Like
have
he's
a
just doing that
stance,
again. I thought we were trying to
dude.
get away from that.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Right.
We're gonna stay on the fact that you don't understand.
Are we
what
gonna
you're
provide
talking about
evidence?
Because your whole worldview.
DJ, I
is
thought you
based
wanted us
on-
to provide evidence. This should be,
your whole
you know.
worldview. Your whole worldview is based on not
Are we not?
providing
We're not doing that.
evidence, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, your whole worldview
wanna
is based on
do you
not
actually
We
want
do
to
need
provide
to,
evidence of
AV,
it?
just a second, guys. Yeah, we do need to take a reset. If we have to take turns, we will, right? So, I mean, let's present evidence, right? Evidence for the globe, evidence for the flat Earth. All right,
go ahead.
who wants to go first out of you
It sounds
two?
like AV wants to go. So go ahead, AV.
Yep.
All right, so evidence for the Earth being flat. The affirmation is water always is horizontal on its surface when in large bodies and at rest. So we can observe this simple fact in physics. So we can demonstrate that water holds surface tension on its surface when extended in large bodies. And when there's no motion on it, like any wind or anything, we're going to notice that there's a horizontality that's displayed. And not only can it be displayed, but it can be measured across. So this surface is a horizontal surface, and it can be shown in like calm lakes that are placid. We can see that this is shown in the example that Indio was given earlier to you with the specular reflection that he was trying to demonstrate within the Salt Lake flats that they were showing the water is horizontal on its surface. Now, his analogy was that water itself is horizontal. And so he was using that, and in not just specific, but in any case, right? So any case in any body of water. So he was just using the salt flats as a particular example. But in any place that people have bodies of water that are calm, they can go witness this effect, right? Where the surface of water is always horizontal and creates a specular reflection that mirrors perfectly the image of the thing that is represented. Now, of course, it might look a little bit distorted because of like the little rippling of it, but it shows a mirror surface, not to be as a convex surface would, with it being like the surface of a globe. Now, the surface of a globe would then have to be something that would be determined based on like the distance between the observer and the target distance, and then the reflection that's on the water to be such that if it was not the case, or if it was, it would have to be determined with the specular reflection of that surface of the water, displaying whether the surface of the water was displaying a mirrored surface, a convex specular reflection. So that would have to be proven, and has never been proven. All we see is a perfectly mirrored surface from what we see of the water of a calm lake or body of water. It doesn't have to be salt flats, by the way. So all of these things amount to the Earth is a horizontal surface, and water extends as far as the eye can see, and it is a definition for why we would say the Earth is a horizontal plane. That's the evidence right there. It's staring you in the face that it always has been. So
Okay.
for you to say that it's a globe,
Can I
you'd have
address
to
that?
prove the contrary.
Yeah, so I wrote down everything that you said. You said water is always, and so I'm just going to read through what I wrote down, so please correct me if I missed something, okay? Is that fair?
Go ahead.
Right. So you said water is always horizontal when in large bodies at rest. You said that you can observe it in physics, something about surface tension. You kind of mumbled a little bit, so I didn't catch the bit about surface tension. I assume you mean that when you have small things, you can have surface tension making things not horizontal. You said when the water is not moving, the horizontality is displayed and it can be measured. You say that you can see this in placid lakes. Then you mentioned the specular reflection with the Bolivian salt flats and how that is an example of horizontality. You said that in any place where bodies of water are calm, the surface is always horizontal and perfectly mirrors things above it, but it might be a bit distorted. You said that, it's not convex like you would expect on a globe, and then you say that it's never been proven that it's slightly convex or whatever. You always see a perfectly mirrored surface. So, is that a correct summary of your argument?
Pretty much.
Okay. So just a quick question. So, would you say that there is ever motionless water on the Earth?
Motionless water? I don't know what that means, motionless.
Like
Did I say
because
motionless?
you said no motion, right?
I said calm.
Earlier you definitely said the phrase no motion. I wrote it down. You said when there's no motion
when
on
did
the
I say no
water,
motion?
horizontality is displayed.
Yeah. So I mean calm.
Okay, so
Calm would display the least amount. So it's
so when
not,
if there's no waves in the
'cause
ocean, would that be
I
calm?
did also, yeah. So you told me to interrupt you whenever you're
Yeah, go ahead.
saying something. So what I meant was calm. So calm would also mean that if the least amount. So like on a day where there's like hardly any wind, like images that are being displayed right now in the text, that sort of thing.
So when so would you say the ocean is ever calm?
Yeah, we're not talking about ocean.
Okay, so we're not talking about the
bodies of
ocean.
water.
So we're only
No. What I said was large bodies of water. So
Okay,
wherever
but
there's large bodies of water and
Sure.
water being at rest. Notice
Okay.
the thing that I'm
Yeah,
saying.
sure,
Don't
sure.
don't say things that are not what I'm
I
saying.
was just clarifying, so this doesn't apply to the ocean.
No, it does, but it's not at rest.
So this whole discussion about water always being horizontal doesn't apply to the ocean?
It's water. So water
I understand it's water.
Way.
My
So the
question
mechanics
is
of water are not gonna. It's not gonna. The mechanics of water don't deviate from body to body. So all we're doing right now is examining
I understand
when
that.
it's calm.
Right, okay. So but do we agree that the ocean's never calm?
Well, yeah, it's always stirred up, of course.
Okay. So we can't use the ocean to demonstrate this, right?
No, we can.
But I thought we just agreed that the ocean was never calm.
Yeah, no, the ocean's not calm. It doesn't mean that it's not horizontal.
But the argument that you proposed,
because
the
so
evidence
let
that
me
you
put it to- let
proposed
me put it to you this
only
way,
says
let me
that
put it to this-
horizontality appears
Yeah,
when
let
there's
me-
no motion.
No. I'm talking about when it displays itself as a calm surface, then you can see the horizontality. But when it's like moving around, you can see waves and stuff. You're going to be like, well, we have waves, so then that's going to cause an issue for the
Right.
argument.
So we can't
So-
use the
and-
ocean for this argument.
No,
I'm
no,
trying to
we
help you
can't.
here, by
We
the way.
can't necessarily.
We
I'm
can't.
trying to help
When
you.
can you use
I'm
the
actually
ocean for
trying
an
to help you.
argument?
I'm helping you. So what I'm talking about is water is being measured when
Uh-huh.
it's like when it's calm, right? So we say,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna put over calm water. We're gonna throw like lasers or whatever on top of it,
Uh-huh.
and then measure from point A to point B. But water, the mechanics of which will always, the properties of water, right, will always remain the same body to body. Doesn't
Right. So
matter.
what are the
So
what are these
just
properties?
just because a lake is in motion or it's windy out doesn't mean that all of a sudden the lake is not horizontal.
Well, hold
you
on.
understand?
So I mean, like, clearly, if there's waves, it's not horizontal, right?
No. Do you get what I'm saying though?
No, that's why I asked another question.
So if we're saying that when we're looking at a horizontal surface, right, like the body of water, and then there's wind that occurs, like you're going to be able to say, well, there's wind that's rippling over the water, so to say it's a perfectly horizontal surface, we're not going to be able to use that. But from measuring from point A to point B, the distance of which you're going to be able to ascertain whether or not the Earth is a curved surface, right? Like we're going to measure over this water. We're going to notice that the horizontality will always remain intact. So line of sight will always be something that we include over the body of water.
Hold on, now I'm confused. Are we talking about the water, or are we talking about like shooting lasers over the water?
Yeah, water displaying itself as a horizontal surface. And when we test, right, with either line of sight or lasers or any other type of thing that we're going to use to measure a distance, we're going to be able to say, okay, over the surface of this horizontal water, because we want to see if what we're doing is correct or not, right? We want to measure and test and verify that the horizontal water that we're seeing is not just maybe a conjuring up of our imagination as you might think it could be. So we're going to verify this. We're going to test and measure with line of sight. We're going to be able to say, okay, from me to the target distance that I want to put here, I'm going to see if the Earth would be displaying any convexity whatsoever. Like in the case of the Earth being a globe.
So look, so
if it is,
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Please, like I was just trying to get clarity. Can we run these tests? Can we evaluate whether or not a body of water is horizontal when the water is in motion? Can we do that?
Well, this has been kind of the thing that people have looked into when they try to figure out what sea level means. So
can you just answer my question with a yes or no?
Yeah, if people are trying to figure out what sea level is,
that was a yes or no question.
Yeah, listen to what I'm saying, dude. It's going to be the average of the.
Can the answer start with yes or no?
Yeah. So you just want me to answer you specifically without?
I want you to answer that question. Yeah. I'm trying to ask a clarifying question, and you're not clarifying at all. You're adding more confusion. So I just want a yes or no. Is it the case that you can use like water that's in motion to determine that the Earth or that the water is horizontal?
Yes.
Okay, you can.
Yes.
So in the presence of large waves, like, I don't know, a tsunami, would you say that the water is horizontal?
Yep.
Okay. What do you make of tides then?
Those are long period waves.
Sure, but then the water's not horizontal, right? It's higher in some places than in other places.
Yeah, well, think about it like this. As you pour more water on a surface and as it accumulates, it's going to raise in volume. It's going to increase and it'll decrease. But
are you saying that with tides we're adding water?
The way it rises, no, like we're talking about the rise and fall of tides. Rise and fall.
Well, I'm just asking, like, how is it horizontal if it's higher in some places than in other places?
Yeah, because water's evenly distributed on its surface. It's evenly distributed. So as it's raising, think about it like this. Well,
but they can't
think about
be,
it like
right?
this, right? Think about it like this. If
the
you
tides
put
change
water,
over time.
Yeah. Can you just hold on for a second, dude? Can you hold your tongue for just a moment? So if you're thinking about like filling up it doesn't matter, like a swimming pool full of water, that water raises equally in all parts of it, right? It's all raising equally. Are you saying that at one point of that pool, that water is like higher or lower than another?
Well,
think about it like that.
No,
that's what I'm talking about.
Saying.
That's exactly what I'm. That's what
I'm
saying.
Sure. I understand, tides would be like if there was like a lump of water on one side of the pool and a divot of water on the other side of the pool, and then they kind of just swapped places.
You said that.
That's what tides are, right?
Yeah. How did you prove that?
Well, we know that it's high tide in some places when it's low tide in other places, right?
Yeah, how do you know that? How do you know the difference? How do you know the difference is going to be that unbalanced?
Well,
and it's not
no, I mean, you can just so like you can go to the ocean and you can observe that the water gets higher and the water gets lower with the tides, right? We agree that tides are real, and then you can call somebody in a different place in the world where their high tide is your low tide, and then you can be like, my water is at the low point and your water is at the high point,
how
and
did
then
you
you can wait
verify
on the
that,
phone for 6
Blitz?
hours
How
and
did
see
you
that
verify
your
that?
your water is
How
at the
did
high
you
point and
verify
their
that
tide is.
you're
You
standing?
can just
how
call
did you
someone.
verify that?
What?
Yeah, who
You can just
cares
go to the
about
ocean.
calling someone? The distance in between the two observers.
I'm not talking about
are
the
gonna be
distance. I'm
what-
just saying they're far
Yeah,
away.
I am.
The distance
I'm
isn't
talking
relevant. They're
about the
far.
distance. So yeah, no, it's not. It's totally relevant because what you're doing here is you put one person in one specific geographic location.
Yep.
You put another person in another geographic location, right? You got two people standing on two different geographic locations. Now,
Yep.
what we have here is either you might believe it's a curved surface or it's a horizontal.
No, this has nothing.
surface.
No. This has nothing to do with the actual shape of the Earth right now. I mean, it does,
Oh, it
but
does.
it just it
It
does,
does.
but only because it shows that it can't that the
Well,
water
then,
isn't
if it
flat.
does, you need to engage. If
Yeah,
it
yeah.
does, you
So,
need to
but the point
engage.
is the distance isn't relevant. The point is we agree
Yeah,
that
it
there are
is.
places. Wait, hold on. I just gotta make sure that we live in the same reality here. Do you think that there are places that have high tide at the same time as other places having low tide?
Yeah, that does exist.
Okay, so that's all I'm talking about. And that
Okay,
then they
so
swap
what's your
every
point?
6 hours.
Yeah, but what's your point?
But it's the same water. How can you have?
Yeah.
So this would be like a pool having a lump of water on one side and a dip of water on the other side, and they're just swapping places every few
Yeah,
hours.
how did you prove that? That's
how-
what you're
what do you mean,
saying.
how that-
How did
wait,
you prove?
It's
How did you
it's
prove
the
it?
same ocean. It's
No,
all
yeah,
the same
and
water.
All we can see.
How did I prove
the basic
what?
Mechanic, yeah, the basic mechanics of water is that water is evenly distributed, so it doesn't
Wait a minute,
ever
so-
show what you're saying. What doesn't ever show what you're saying is true. We never
So what
observed that in the
happens-
mechanics of water. Do you ever
Okay, so-
observe a hill of water on one side and a divot on the other? Do you
What I'm
observe
saying is
that?
that's what tides. What I'm saying is that's what we're doing when we observe tides.
Yeah,
that
that's
are at
what
different
you
places, at
say,
different
but
places.
you haven't
Wait,
proved it.
so what do you think what do I need to prove here? I mean, you agree that
That
tides
there's a
that there
divot
could be
on
high.
one side and there's a hump on another.
Right.
That's what
Okay.
you
So
need to
so
prove.
we can agree that there's high tide in one place and low tide in another place at the same time, right?
Yeah, evenly distributed. Yep.
But then
But
they
what?
swap.
Who cares? They're evenly distributed. There's no
Wait a
hump
minute.
and divot.
Hold on. If the water gets lower somewhere, right?
Yeah.
That means that if it was evenly distributed, it should get lower everywhere, right?
It's moving. It's evenly distributed, moving.
Wait, what's moving?
The water.
So
Dude,
the
what are you
water
lost
was
on what
high
we're saying?
here and then it got lower. So you mean
Yeah.
there was a hump and
Yeah.
then the hump moved?
No. You're saying hump and divot. I never said that. I'm saying
Wait, so
evenly
what's the
distributed.
thing that's moving? If it's evenly distributed,
water.
look. So AV, using your example, when you fill up a
Mm-hmm.
pool, if it's not windy and so on, when you fill up a pool, it rises everywhere at the same time, right?
Yes.
But when the high tide goes, or when the low tide, I don't know what it's called, when it goes out, when it goes from low tide to high tide, that's not happening everywhere. In fact,
Yeah, I know.
in some places, when you're going from low tide to high tide, somewhere else is going from high tide to low tide. So
Okay,
it's not doing
so-
like what the pool is doing.
So if water, let's put it this way: if water is not evenly distributed, which is what you're saying
Mm-hmm.
it's got a hump and a divot. Prove it.
I just did.
No, you didn't. saying that
so
there's
let
a
me-
hump and a
let
divot
me-
doesn't
maybe I
prove
can
that there's
explain-
one.
Maybe I can explain this a little bit
No,
better.
I want to see it
Let
in
me
the
use an
mechanics
analogy.
of water, bro.
Let me
Show
use
the
an
mechanics of
analogy.
water.
So I proved that it
dude.
happens. Now, if you don't understand
No,
how
no,
it
you
happens,
didn't.
that's on you.
No, you didn't. No, you did not
So-
prove that it happens. You
so
just
let
said
me-
it does.
Let me use an example that
just
is
said it does,
perfectly.
Blitz.
Let me use
Blitz.
an analogy that is
Blitz.
perfectly in
Blitz.
line with a
No.
pool, right?
Bro,
So,
you need to no.
let's
wait,
say
wait,
that
wait,
you and
wait,
let's say that
wait,
you and I.
Wait.
I'm not
You
gonna
need
wait.
to prove
Let's
what
say
I
that
said. Yes,
you and
you need-
I.
no, you
I'm
need to
doing
prove
that
what I
right now.
said, dude.
I'm doing it
You're
right
not
now.
One
proving
second, guys. We need to reset again. Okay,
Using
so
an analogy.
Mm-hmm. So, let's say that you and your friend are standing in a pool of water. You can't see what's going on at your friend's side, maybe because there's like, I don't know, maybe I don't know, there's something blocking your vision from seeing the other person's side of the pool. But you and your friend are on the phone, and you notice that the water is only touching your belly button, and for them it's touching, I don't know, it's touching their neck. And then slowly but surely you're still on the phone with your friend, and over the course of a few hours, the water is no longer touching your belly button. Now it's touching your nipples. And for your friend, the water is now at their nipples, not at their neck, right? So the water has gone up for you and gone down for them. So what explains the water changing level in different directions for the two of you?
You done?
Yeah, that was a question.
Yeah, it just moved from one place to the other.
The water
Moving
moved from one
around.
place to another?
Yeah, it's just moving around. It's not getting a
So
hump
is
or
it
divot.
level?
It's evenly distributed. Yes.
So it's
evenly distributed.
but it's not
But
level
what?
because it's
But you
higher in
didn't
one
prove
place
it.
than it is in the other
You
place.
didn't. Yeah. Well, okay,
I can
go ahead
actually.
and,
Yeah. Okay.
prove there's
Okay.
a hump and
I'll
prove
give you a
there's divot.
deductive argument.
No, wait a minute. Wait. No, I need you.
Yeah.
to
I'm
prove
going to
that
give you a
there's hump
deductive
and divot.
argument that proves it. I'm going to give you a deductive
Right.
argument. So premise 1, at time 0, the water level is lower for me and higher for my friend. I'll actually write this down as we go. Okay. So premise 1, at time 0, the water is low for me and high for my friend. Premise 2, at time 1, let's say, the water is high for me and low for my friend. Premise 3, if the water was horizontal the entire time, then when the water went from low to high for me, from low to high for me, it should also, or it also goes from low to high for my friend. Conclusion: the water is not, or was not, horizontal the entire time. So which of the 3 premises do you disagree with?
You've conjured up some kind of idea that the water is not horizontal, and I want you to tell
This
me
is
how
a-
it's not horizontal.
So which premise do you disagree with?
Yeah,
I can read them
I
again.
disagree with your fact that you're saying that the water is
It's a
not evenly
premise.
distributed, and it's showing that some way there's a hump and then there's a divot. I want
Okay,
you to
so-
prove that. You haven't done
so
so, and you're,
I
you're trying to,
just
you're
did
trying
it.
to,
It was a
no,
deductive
wait a minute.
argument.
No, you didn't do it. No, that
did.
deductive argument. Oh yeah, how did you prove it in physical reality? Did you go
You asked for
outside
a
and
proof.
verify this?
You asked for
Did
a
you go
proof.
outside- Yeah, proof is verifying
This is a proof.
this information. You didn't prove it.
I don't think you know what proof
you
is.
just keep saying. No, I don't think you
So-
know what proof is. Dude.
So
you didn't
do
go
you,
outside.
Do you,
Did you verify this outside? Did you go
Have
to
you
the
ever-
field and test this?
so
Did you go to
so
the
do you
field
know
and
what?
test this? Did you
Just
go
to
to
be
the field?
clear-
Answer my question, dude. Did you go to the field and test this?
Yes. Now, just to be clear,
When?
Um,
When? Oh, when?
yesterday.
When?
Now, just to be clear, AV,
No,
do you know
no,
what
you
a
didn't
proof
do it.
is?
No, that's a lie. He's lying.
Do you know what a proof is?
He's lying. Nope. You're gonna stand by
Can you answer
what
the question?
you just said.
Do you know what
went
a proof
out
is?
yesterday and you tested it.
Yeah. Can you prove that I
You
didn't?
said that. Yeah, because you're
Oh.
not giving the
How did you-
methodology
how can you
by
prove
which
that I
you
didn't?
tested it.
How can you
You
prove that I
didn't show the
didn't? Did you go
methodology.
outside
Show
and
the
check that I
methodology.
wasn't outside yesterday?
Show the methodology.
I'm sorry. Can you
Show
prove
the
that I
method.
didn't?
Yeah, show the method. I'm asking you to show
No,
the
no.
method.
You asking a question isn't proof that I didn't. Anyway, so do you
Yeah,
disagree
it is.
with
It's showing
premise
that you
1?
didn't provide a method. You didn't
AV,
provide a method.
AV, this is
Blitz,
really
you
embarrassing
didn't
for you.
provide
You
a
can't
method.
even engage
Blitz,
with the premises.
You didn't provide the method.
So
Blitz,
AV,
provide the method.
premise
Provide
1
the
is
method.
at time 0, the
Blitz,
water is
provide the
low
method.
for me and high for my friend.
Blitz.
Is
Yeah,
that possible?
So what, dude? You keep
Okay.
saying things, but
Premise
you didn't
2.
provide the method of how you ascertain
At time
that
1,
water
the
is
water
not
is high for
horizontal.
me and low for my friend.
Still doesn't. You still not.
Do you
proving
agree
it.
with premise
You're
1
just
or
making
premise
more
2?
Claims. You're still making more claims. You didn't prove it. You did not prove it.
These are premises. Do you know what a premise is?
Yeah, you did not prove it. You didn't go out into the field.
I
and
don't
test
think you're
whether-
equipped to
and
have a
test whether your
conversation
friend- Yeah,
that
I
involves
do.
deductive
this
reasoning.
Is equipped. Listen, dude. Your friend.
Do you know
and
what
you,
deductive reasoning
Yeah.
is?
Listen, the only thing that your friend and you can do is
Do you-
test locally.
This is really embarrassing.
What
for
I'm
the-
saying.
Please tell me that this isn't the second best of what
Yeah.
the flat Earth had,
Yeah.
because if you don't know what
Listen-
deductive
listen to
reasoning
what I'm
is, this is
saying.
real
You
bad.
And your friend are testing locally what the water's doing. And
Do you
in
want me
that
to draw
local
you a
surface,
picture?
It doesn't matter, bro. The evenly distributed water where you and
Do you
your
want me
friend
to draw
are
you a
testing
pic- I
is
can draw you a
horizontal
picture.
on
Let
the
me draw you a
surface.
picture.
It is not
I'm gonna draw
a
a
hump
picture.
of water and a divot on the other side.
I'm gonna
That
draw you
is
a picture.
yours. That is your claim. That is what you're saying is happening, and it's not that way. You didn't prove it. You didn't go to the field and test it, which you lied about, and you said you did. I did yesterday. That's what you said.
Can
Just
you
to
prove
move
that
the
I didn't?
conversation forward.
Can you prove
You
that I
didn't
didn't?
show the method. You didn't show the
the
method.
burden of proof isn't on me, buddy.
Speaking,
prove that I
yeah,
didn't?
it is. A burden of
Oh,
proof
it is?
solely square on your shoulders. You didn't provide the evidence that you actually had a method to test what you said is true. You didn't go out into the field and test this, did you?
Can you prove that I didn't?
Did you?
Can
Provide
you-
the
I'm
method.
sorry. Can you prove that I didn't?
Yeah, validate the method in which you did this, and then I'll say, okay, maybe you did do it. But what's the method?
Hold on. I have a picture for you.
No, I don't care about your picture. Go into the field and test this. What was your method?
1 sec. Me.
1 sec.
Sorry,
You
I'm
had the
typing
answer.
something.
You and your friend didn't test anything. You saw
No,
in
I
your
actually.
local area.
In fact, I actually went to space yesterday.
Oh my God. Whatever, dude. See, is this the best you got? You're a PhD. You should be
Uh-huh.
ashamed of yourself, bro.
Yeah. So
Saying the things that you're saying.
no, I'm actually very confident, very proud of what I'm saying. Here, I have a picture for you. Let me copy and paste it
I
into
don't
chat.
care about your picture, dude. You lied about
I know.
testing
You don't
water.
care about things that debunk your worldview.
You lied about
Here,
testing
so I sent a
water
picture.
on its surface.
Yeah,
You lied
I
about
made it up just so then I could actually bring up the point that I was talking
great.
about.
I'm glad you made a little picture. I'm
so
glad
here's
you're
the picture. So
yeah, I'm
this
glad
is-
you're
this
great
is
at
what's
drawing
happening.
with crayons, bro.
Right. So
Yeah,
this is
how
this
did
is
you
not with crayons.
validate
I don't
that?
know if you know what crayons are.
How did you validate that?
So
How did you validate that?
this is what tides do. Do you not agree that
Who
tides
cares
move
what
up
your
and down?
explanation is, Blitz?
How
did you and your friend test this?
do you think that tides go up and down?
How did you and
This
your
is just
friends
tides.
test
This
in
is-
the
this is a
field
model
that
for
this is
tides.
true? That's great.
I've seen
How did you and your
tides
friend test that this
before,
is
and
real?
I've talked to people who have also seen tides before. Have you seen tides
That's
before?
wonderful. That's wonderful. You saw a tide locally.
Uh-huh.
How did you and
Yeah,
your
yeah,
friend
yeah.
test that image? Let me show everybody. Look at the image he just posted. A PhD.
Yeah,
mind
yeah.
you,
It was a drawing
posted.
that I put together in like 2
Yeah,
seconds.
it's a drawing that he posted. Did he go out into
To
the
illustrate
field?
a point.
Ask him this. I want to see if the if
Yes,
the chat
I've been
can
out in the
answer-
field
and
seeing
can ask
tides.
this.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
have.
yeah. Did you test this specific diagram?
Did I
that
test?
you
Did I
posted?
test that the tides are low at one point and somewhere else on the Earth,
Like
and
the
it's high where I
diagram
am?
that you posted. Yeah, the
Yeah, this-
diagram you posted.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I've talked
How
with
did you do that?
people. I've talked with people on the other side of the world
I've talked
while
with
they are.
people.
Yeah, how? And
I've
they
talked with people.
reported that
That's
it
the-
was high tide. What are you talking about? Of course. What else do you want me to do?
The method to test in the field is not
Uh-huh.
talking to people somewhere in another geographic location.
That's how you can collect data from multiple different places at the same time. Or do you not think that's possible?
Yeah. How did you do it in the field? How do you know water
You
is
can just
doing
talk to
that
somebody.
exact thing? See where it
Wait,
says
do you not
me?
think? Okay, just to be clear.
See where it says
just so,
hold on a minute.
just so
Blitz,
all of
hold
the
on.
flat earthers
See
who are
where it
listening
says
to this,
me?
AV is
Yeah,
currently
they are.
denying
They are.
the
They're listening
existence
to you
of
not provide
tides.
evidence.
He is
They're-
currently
they're listening
denying
to
the
you not
existence
provide
of
evidence.
tides, that it can't be high tide in one place
Denying
and low tide at the
existence.
same place. Absolutely,
you-
because that's
yeah,
all
what
this
you're
picture
saying-
is demonstrating.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
saying that there are
no,
high
it's
tides in some places at
demonstrating
the
your
same time there are low
inability-
tides at other places. That's all you're
It's your-
doing.
You're demonstrating your inability to show how you tested the method by which you and your friend know that that's exactly what's happening. What you posted in a diagram. You didn't.
To be clear,
show
do you think that that's
how
not
that's
what's happening?
happening.
Do you think that like the tides don't go up and down?
I said it's evenly distributed. How many times have I said that to you?
Wait a minute. So
now
when
you're
it's low
showing
tide
something
for me and high
contrary to
tide
that.
for somebody else.
Yeah, you're showing something contrary to that. So I want to see the.
So
the
just to
field
be
test.
clear, hold on. I really need a straight answer from this, because if you can't answer this, it's just
You
it just
haven't
doesn't look
given
good
a
for you.
straight answer to
So,
the test.
I already did. I literally told you that I've talked to people while on the phone while experiencing low tide. So AV,
That's
I
not
need a
testing
straight.
in the
I need
field.
a
Sorry.
really
I'm not
straight
gonna
answer from
answer
you.
because you're not
Okay,
testing
so
in
you're
the
going to
field.
avoid the question. Okay, if you're not
No,
interested
I'm
in having
avoiding-
a
I'm
conversation, we
avoiding
can
what
move
you're
on to
saying.
another
No.
guest.
No. We're not, because you're not identifying to the audience how you tested in the field.
I've
that this is-
already elaborated on it now. If you don't
No, you
want to,
didn't.
if you don't want
just
to
called your
engage,
friend.
if you don't want to engage with my question, then this isn't a conversation.
Yeah,
You're just trying to
only
steamroll.
talking about.
So
You're
look,
only. This is your. Listen,
AV,
this is
you
your
should answer the
PhD.
question. If you don't
This
want
is
to
a
debate,
PhD's
if you don't want to
example
debate,
of
that's
testing.
fine. If you
Yeah,
want
I
to
am
walk away
debating
with
with
your
you.
tail between
This-
your
no,
legs,
you're walking away.
embarrassed,
You're the dog
that's
with the tail
fine.
between his legs.
But if you
did
can't
not
even
show the
ask,
method,
if you can't
you
even
did not
answer a
show the
question,
method
my
by
guy,
which you tested this.
if you can't even
didn't
answer
show
a
the
question,
method.
my guy, I don't know, man. It's
Yeah,
embarrassing. for
my
you.
guy. Yeah, you just said, "Hey, I'm gonna call my friend over there in another geographic location,
Yep.
and therefore it's exactly like my diagram." Yeah, you didn't test in the field, did you, Mr.
That's
PhD?
what does testing in the field mean except
That means
collecting
going
data from multiple
outside, brother,
different places?
letting your
Yeah.
feet touch sand.
Wait,
Yeah?
I told you that I was on the beach when I did this, right?
Okay, so now what did you observe? Did you observe?
I
what you're
observed
seeing
low
your diagram
tide.
is showing?
I observed low
Did
tide.
you
Yeah.
observe your little diagram?
Yeah. I observed low tide, and then then the other guy,
Yeah, let
it was
me-
high tide.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take what you posted as a little diagram,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna repost it for everybody here.
It's in the
Let
chat.
me ask
You don't have
Mr.
to repost
PhD.
it. Oh, I
This
guess you can
this
if
is
you
what I
want.
posted for what he posted. He said this is occurring. Now I asked him again.
I mean, it's a rough
How did he
drawing, but
test-
it's the rough idea.
yeah, I don't care. How did he test that this is actually happening in the field?
Yeah, so it was low tide for me. It was the bottom picture. It was low tide for me, and then a high tide for my friend. And then we talked again later, and it happened to be around high tide. So then it was high tide for me and low tide for
So
my
there's
friend.
no validation.
What do you mean
no
by
validation that this is the case. Yeah, you're not validating
What-
that this is
that
happening
is
in
validation.
nature.
That's exactly what's
No,
happening.
not
I
in
didn't draw
nature.
anything in between. This
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
the
in
ocean.
nature.
This was the ocean.
Yeah, in nature. Did you go out into
Yes,
the
this was the
did you go
ocean.
see the Yeah, you saw
This
the
was
ocean
in
do
the
this?
ocean. Yeah. I saw the ocean be
do this?
lower for me and higher for him, and then higher for me
Oh,
and
you
lower
did?
for him.
Did you?
Yeah.
You saw the ocean higher for me and lower for him? How did you
Yeah,
observe that
I mean, like,
point where you're
what
at?
are you asking? That did you want him to like video camera it to me?
No,
Like he just
I
told me,
wanted
yeah, it's
you
high
to
tide here.
video the whole. Yeah, show me the progress and the method by which you tested in the field that this is the case. face.
This is
That's what I
so
want.
dishonest.
Oh, this is
You just don't
being
think.
not-
Wait, just to be
show
clear,
your
you just
work,
don't think
Mr.
that. You just don't
PhD.
think that. You just don't think that opposite
Yeah,
tides
show
can
your work.
happen. You just don't think that
Mr.
opposite tides
PhD?
can happen. So to be clear, for
Show
everybody
this
who's listening,
diagram
for all
being
the flat
correct,
earthers
Mr.
who's
PhD.
listening, if AV
Yeah,
is
they're
the
listening
second
to you,
best you
not-
have,
your
he's
your
currently. I'm sorry,
inability-
I can mic mug
your
you.
inability-
His
yeah, your
his
inability
best
to
that he
prove that
can
this is
do
evidence, dude.
is he has to deny that high tides can happen at the same time as low tides and vice versa. He has to deny that,
denied that.
otherwise he can't
Never
he can't
denied
hold on to
that.
his worldview.
I never deny that.
That's
I
all
deny
the
the
picture's
fact that
showing.
you show that this is
That's all the picture is.
reality.
That's all the picture
Yeah,
is.
this picture, I'm denying.
Hold on a
that that's
second. We
reality.
need when AV. We're going to let AV respond to what you just said, right? You just accused
Okay.
him of a few things, right? So let's just have him respond to that. You said he denies tides and whatnot. So
I absolutely
yours,
do
AV.
not.
He
I
denied a
absolutely
specific
do
thing
not
about
deny-
tides, by the way.
Okay,
Go
bro.
ahead.
I absolutely do not deny tides are happening, right? And whether or not water is accumulating in one place and not in another, or however tides are occurring for your friend, that's great. I'm glad tides are happening and you can call each other on the phone and gab about what tides are doing. You being a PhD and having a big brain, you hadn't resolved the fact that you're not testing actual nature, which should be this diagram that you're posting. Once again, your little drawing for everybody to see
Thank
is
you for posting
actually the case. You didn't prove that's actually happening. You just called your homie and said, "Hey, homie, how's that water over there?" "Wow, I'm getting a low tide. How about you, sir?" "I got a
Yep.
high tide over here." Well,
Yep.
therefore, you know what I believe? I believe we're on an incline or a decline, depending on what you think.
Or it's some sort of
lump
lumpy
and the
thing.
divot.
Just to be clear, and just to be clear, the picture that I drew, I'm not saying it's like a straight, like, linear path from high tide to low tide.
Oh, right.
just-
No, you're changing.
No, I
So
mean,
now
it
you're
was an
changing your
illustration.
diagram.
It was an
you're
illustration
changing.
to illustrate the point that there is a non-level surface, right?
Non-level.
It could be
So-
smoother than that. It could be
So
like
it's not
there-
this. You're basically.
I mean,
you're
it could be
basically
smoother than that,
demonstrating-
but this is a diagram
You're
to
demonstrating
illustrate a
that
point.
water is flat on its surface. It's just at an angle. You know
Oh
that,
wait,
right?
would this count as horizontal to you?
No, I'm saying, but you're saying that the water is flat on its surface. It's just it's running off into another something else.
I
But
mean,
you
like,
to your friend, you just
I
proved flat
wouldn't
Earth,
say
bro.
that this is like actually the real life
You
shape.
just
This
proved
is
flat
this is a diagram. No, this doesn't prove
of
flat
you
Earth.
proving flat Earth.
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Look at how flat the water is between you and your friend. It's just running off into a, you're pouring it out. I don't think that's the case, but
So
You
just
say-
to
you
be,
seem
just to
to
be
think
clear,
that's flat
why
Earth?
does it go up and down in your view?
up and down.
Yeah, why does the water go up and down?
I have no explanation as to why it goes up and down. Do you know
Okay.
why it goes up and down?
I do. Yeah, I have an explanation.
What is it?
Yeah, it's the moon and the sun's gravity.
How do you know that, sir? Explain.
Because it makes good predictions about the
It makes good predictions.
makes good predictions.
Yeah, how do you
and that's,
know
that's
it's
how we
true?
test that's how we test
How do you know it's
explanations.
true? How do you know it's true?
It makes good predictions. That's how we test explanations.
So what? How many tides
That's
do?
that's how
okay,
you
so,
that's how you test
so,
that's how you test explanations. You check if they
Yeah.
make good predictions.
so how many predictions can you make using this?
The diagram or using gravity?
Using the idea that the sun and moon are causing these tides.
You can basically predict the tide at any place on the earth at any time.
Yeah.
It's messy, but you can do it.
It's messy. Oh,
The
that's your
math is
great way of
tricky.
telling us that that's your great way of telling us that the sun and moon are producing the evidence that they're causing the tides. Ah, wonderful. Great job, Mr. PhD. Another round of applause and a great work that you've proved that tides
That's
are
some
being
cool
caused by the sun and moon.
grandstanding, but like you don't
Yeah.
even have an explanation. My explanation
I
makes
don't
good
need one.
predictions.
I don't need one because your inability to provide
okay, so you don't
evidence
care
that
about
what you're
understanding
saying,
the world
your
around us then.
inability, yeah, I do actually. But
Wait,
if I
you
can,
do?
if I
So
don't know
understanding
something,
requires
if I don't know
explanation.
something, I have the humility to say I don't know. You, on the
Right,
other
right,
hand,
but
don't
but,
because
but
you're
I
so
do have an
prideful being a
explanation,
PhD.
and you're not interested in hearing about the explanation, right?
Yeah, your explanation doesn't mean anything if it can be tested in the physical
It can
world,
be tested.
which
It makes
yours can't.
predictions, and then you can go check that those predictions
Yeah,
are true.
really, have you tested it?
Have I tested it? Oh, is that the standard?
Well, no, the standard is you're making a claim that these are so predictable.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you
So,
predicted- have you
so is
tested
this is the standard that I must
Have
have
you tested
completed
it?
all of science
Have
in
you
order to
tested
make
it?
any scientific
Have you
claims?
tested it?
Can you answer my question, please?
Have
Is
you
that my
tested it? You have
is
an
that
answer
my
mine?
is that the
You have an
standard?
answer mine? You have an answer mine? Have you tested it?
I've tested that the tides can
Have
be
you
at
tested
different
it?
levels at different places. Yeah.
Yeah. So is it due to
Now
the
can you now
gravitational
answer my
pull of the
question?
sun
Is
and
that
moon?
the standard? Is
Is
that
it
the
due to
standard?
the gravitational
I'm not
pull of
answering
the-
another question until you answer my
You
question.
should. You should because it's a follow-up.
I'm sorry.
to what
I thought this was a
your,
conversation, not a
questions are.
railroad.
Yeah, it is. It's a
Okay, so then answer
conversation.
my
It's your
question. I answered
inability to
yours.
Provide evidence that the sun and moon are causing
I'm gonna have to
tides.
appeal to the mod here. DJ, I just answered his question. Can you ask him to answer mine?
Aw. What was your question?
Look, let's go ahead, take turns with the question each now.
What was your
Yeah.
question,
So
Cupcake?
my question is the standard for being able to make claims about scientific facts or scientific claims, that I must have done the science myself. Is that the standard?
Yeah, it needs to be verified.
That wasn't an answer. It was a yes or no question.
It needs to have the ability to be checked. So if you make a claim scientifically and it says it's something that was been done by somebody, then yes, validation is a key component.
So do I have to have done that validation?
You can. Is it possible that you
That wasn't
haven't
my
done
question.
it? Yes. It's
Do I
possible you
have to
haven't
have done it?
Yeah, it could be validated. Let's put it that way.
Can it be validated without me doing it?
Other people can validate it. Yes.
Okay. So if I just give you names of people who have validated this, would you believe me?
No, it has to be.
Or would you say that, have you done it?
It's not about a belief system. It's about me being able to check and validate what the work is. Because you tell me something, you
Okay, sure.
might be somebody. Listen, you might be somebody who just believes on a whim. I'm not. I can say, wait a minute, let me see what effort has been done to prove that this thing that you're saying is true. So I want to check. Maybe you don't care about checking. I do. Does that answer your question?
Well, wait a minute. So to be
wanna
clear,
check.
somebody makes a claim and then somebody checks that the prediction came true. But then you ask me if I did it.
Yeah.
Why does it matter if I did it if somebody else has done it?
Because you stand with such confidence that it's true, and you don't know if it is or not by validation. That's why.
So then I do have to have done it myself, is what you're saying.
Well, if you want to say that you are absolutely sure that
I never
whatever
said
they're
I'm
saying
absolutely
is true,
sure.
yeah, then you're just believing that it is, and that is not. A
I
standard
have
of,
high credence in
it's a very.
I have high
no,
credence in a position. Yeah.
So what? Yeah, but you haven't
What do you mean? So
validated
what?
it. So yeah. So what? You
So
haven't
okay. So
validated
your
it.
position
So
is that
in
I
the
can't make any.
methodology-
I can't make
yeah,
any strong claims unless I've personally validated them. That's
No,
your
you can
position.
you can make whatever claim you like, but if it can't pass a methodology of being tested and validated and or falsified, then you really just have an idea. That's it.
Well,
And that's
but
good for you. You
if
can
I
have
tell
all
you
the ideas
that
you want
yes,
about
this
the
has
Earth
been
being a globe.
validated elsewhere,
That's
but then
great.
you ask me if
That's
I've done
your
it.
opinion. That's your opinion. You can have all the opinions you like.
That's it. Do you think it's an opinion
what-
that like somebody else ran an
Yeah.
experiment? That's an opinion.
Well, according to you, you haven't tested
What do you
it.
mean that's?
How would
What do you mean
know?
according to me? I never said the word opinion.
Yeah, well, your
Okay,
opinion
so
as
just to
well.
be clear,
I
even though you
think
said
the
it
per-
doesn't
I
have
think
to
the
be
person,
me
I think
that
the person
tested it.
that's checked this out. I think the person that checked it out did what they should do, and they verified that. Yeah.
So just to be
they got it right.
clear, just to be clear,
We're
even though
already
you said
clear.
no, it doesn't have to have been me that tested it. You're saying now that it's just an opinion unless you've tested it yourself.
Yes.
Okay, so have you ever been to Australia?
Dude, why do we got to talk about this? It's not
Avoiding
talking
the
about
question.
No, it's not. This is just
This is
like
this is
some
exactly
other
pertinent
tactic.
to that claim, by the way.
No, it's other tactic that you use, but I mean,
It's not a
it's gonna
tactic.
be
It's a
the same.
valid question. Have you ever been to Australia?
Nope.
Okay, how do you know it's there?
Well, I can only believe that it exists.
Okay, but so you would never come onto a live and say that Australia exists because that would be irresponsible because it's just your
yeah,
opinion.
Well, the problem here we're having is that it exists allegedly in the realm that we all exist. So if I tell you about a geographic location, right? I'll give you an example, right?
Mhm.
I'll say Middle Earth exists, and you've never been there, right? How would you provide to me evidence that Middle Earth exists?
Well,
And
I don't
say
think
it's in
it
the re-
does.
it's in the-
I wouldn't be
it's
able
in
to
the-
provide you
well,
evidence.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I could say it's in the realm that we exist in. You haven't been there.
So, right. So,
Well-
okay, I see what you're doing. So you could say, yes,
Well-
you haven't been there, but it does exist. I would be like, okay, like, are there like photos of this? Can I see it from satellites?
Yeah.
I would ask for
Yeah.
some sort of evidence. I wouldn't ask you to have
I
gone
got
there.
video evidence. I got
Okay, yeah, let's see it.
You know, there's a movie about it. You know, you can see the.
But we know
hobbits
that
are over there.
we know that Andrew Jackson produced those movies as fiction.
Okay.
So why would we take
So how do
those
you
as
know
pieces of
how do
evidence
you-
for the real
dude,
world?
Like this has nothing. What it amounts to is that you can ask any question you like about
Mhm.
what people say they know. They could
Mhm.
say, "Well, I know to a certain degree because of
Yep.
where I live, right?" But when I go and visit there, like let's just say my friend lives in Australia and he says, "Look, there's this beautiful plant that exists here," right? And I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't know, man. Like that plant that you're talking about, and he takes photos of it. He videotapes himself watching it grow and stuff like that, and it can seem very real to me, right?
Mhm.
Until I go and verify it for myself, I will only have the understanding that what he's saying is true based on, like you said, a high degree of knowledge. But if
Yeah,
I
that's
cannot,
enough.
let's
right?
put it this way. if I cannot validate, this is a whole different side of things. If I cannot validate that what he's saying is true, that makes what he's saying unfalsifiable. So if you say anything that cannot be validated, makes it unfalsifiable.
So these things can be
That's a
validated.
problem.
Fortunately, the
Yes.
tide prediction models can be validated. You can just go run
Yeah.
a tide prediction model and then go check
That's great.
what is the tide doing. So that is falsifiable, right?
That's not what we're looking into and what your premise was. You were talking about the sun and the moon's gravitational influence.
Yeah.
on
So
the
those
tides.
tide prediction models take into account the position of the sun and the moon, and then they use
so-
Newtonian gravity to establish what the tides should be.
You didn't know if the cause relates to the effect, sir. So you're incorrect. You don't.
I don't know if
that.
I don't know if the sun and the moon cause the tides. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes. You don't know that.
Well, one of the ways that we can validate the explanation is by making
Explanation.
predictions with that explanation, right?
So
You make a
high
prediction and
degree
then
of
you check if the
knowledge-
predictions come true.
So it's only a high degree of knowledge that you're going to be able to get to. It's not something that you know.
Yes, that's how we
once
do
again.
science. We come to high degrees of certainty
Yeah, based on what? Your subjective
based off of evidence.
interpretation?
No, based off
No,
of evidence, off
your
of
what
experiments,
evidence, dude?
observations,
What evidence? Observation. You just see the tides doing
observations
something,
and
and then you say,
experiments.
well, I think it's the sun doing this. No, I think it's the moon. Well, how do we know that?
Well,
we
it's
don't know.
both,
We're
but-
just using our best guess, our subjective interpretation.
There's nothing
It's
subjective
magical
about making an
unicorns pulling on the
hypothesis.
water. It's
That's a
you
cool
know,
straw man.
It's the Leviathan making whirlpools
straw
and
man, I
pulling
appreciate
the
that.
water. Yeah, so you can
good
never
meme.
come to a conclusion based on your interpretation because it's subjective and it goes based
Under
on
your
feelings.
worldview, it's impossible to do science. Which, you
No,
know, if
under
that's the
my
worldview you want to
worldview-
hold, I guess, by all
Yeah,
means.
it's empirical and strict. It's getting people to realize that they don't really know what they're talking about. Like
Can
you,
you
being a PhD.
outline for me what the scientific method is? Like, what are the steps?
Yeah. So what we're gonna do now is just talk about how you say that's not science. Science is what I think it is. It's my interpretation of the world based on my feeling. So I can
Well,
do science by
But
looking
can
at
you
planets.
answer the
Like,
question?
no, because it's a fruitless endeavor, dude.
Oh, so you're running.
No, it's not running. It's a fruitless endeavor. I'm speaking to a
I mean,
fallibilist. I'm
refusing-
speaking to a nihilist. I'm speaking to somebody who
Refusing
doesn't know
to
what reality is.
engage with a question sounds like
Listen
running
to
to
me,
me.
dude. No, what sounds like me not engaging with you about that topic is me actually going on a previous notion that you said you don't even know if your hands are real.
No,
That's
you
right.
don't know if your
A
hands are real. I know
PhD
that my hands are real.
No,
I
you
never
don't.
said I don't know that my hands are real.
You have a high
You
degree
can't
of
prove
knowledge
that your hands
they're
are real.
Yeah, yeah.
I
They're
definitely know that my
absolutely
hands are real, though. Absolutely.
Yeah, with 100%.
Nope.
Yep, there you go. So then you don't really know. So you're like,
Nope.
I
that-
could have hands.
what
be
it means to
hallucinating
know
hands.
is to have a high degree of certainty
I
in a
could be
belief.
hallucinating hands.
that is
That's all
justified.
that's happening right now. I think I have hands. Maybe I don't. There's a one. There's
And
a
again, to be fair-
0.0001% chance I don't have hands.
And we're doing it again. But to be clear, you couldn't deductively prove that you have hands either. So
I just
we can
did.
go back to that if you want. But look, I mean,
I
why
don't
don't we
need
take
to.
a step back? It seems like when I ask you to actually do something empirical, try to do science at all, you retreat back into this. Oh, but you can't know with certainty. You retreat back into the metaphysical commentary because you can't actually engage with the scientific evidence.
Yeah. What is science, by the way?
Well, I
What's your
actually asked you to
interpretation of it? 'Cause
outline
I wanna
the
be-
steps.
We're talking past each other when we're in regards to science. What is science, dude? Being that
Yeah,
that
so-
you're-
so
I don't even-
before-
what are you
before
a
I
P-
give
hold
you-
on, Blitz.
Before I give
Blitz,
you
what are you a PhD
my
in?
explanation, I have a
I'm
PhD
even
in
asking
physics.
the wrong guy.
I have a PhD in
physics.
physics. Yeah.
What do you know about science?
Well, physics is a type of science. I don't know if you
I
were
know,
aware.
but I guess that's not relative to what I'm saying. What do you know about it? Like, do you know a lot about it? Or you just
So science is
dabbling
a
in it?
method.
of what?
Well, I asked you this because I actually don't think you know what it is. Do you want to give me your best shot and then I'll tell you what it actually is afterwards?
You haven't. I don't know what you're talking about. There's
I
a lot
actually
of
laid
things
it
that
out
we're gonna
with
be talking
Indio.
past each
I laid
other.
out what the explanation, what the scientific method is with Indio. I actually think I did it with you like 30 minutes ago, but I don't know if you remember.
Well, what's your methodology? What are you just observing something? Are you
What's the next step?
hypothesizing first?
That's the
Yeah.
second step. Okay, so first step is what?
No, you tell me. I'm asking you. What do you?
Well, no,
what-
you were
how
asking. You were doing
define it?
great. So what's the first
No,
step?
I'm not. I don't care about doing great. I want you to tell me what it is.
First step is make an observation. Second step is propose an explanation for the observation. The third step is test the explanation by running an experiment or taking new observations that are predicted by your explanation. then the fourth step is to analyze your results.
Well, give me an example of one.
Of doing science?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So suppose that you observe that when you eat moldy bread, you get sick. Fine. That's an observation. Hypothesis. The mold produces toxins, and when you ingest those toxins, they make you ill. So, what would be a way to test this? Well, one way that you could test this is isolate the mold and then feed it to a rat. Just the mold, no bread involved. Feed it to a rat and see if the rat gets sick. And if the rat does get sick, that would be evidence in favor of your hypothesis. So then you do the experiment, you see if the rat gets sick, you find that the rat actually does get sick, and you say, aha, so your analysis is, aha, as expected by the hypothesis that the mold is releasing toxins that makes me sick, it is the mold itself that is making other things sick as well. So it's not about me, it's not about bread, it's about the mold doing something. And that agrees with my hypothesis. So that would be evidence in favor of the hypothesis. That mold is what's causing the sickness.
What are the parts you put into this method? What are you using within the parts of the method of the scientific?
I just told you what the method was, and I told you what the method was, and I gave you an example.
So what are the variables that you're using here?
In this case, the independent variable is binary. It is there mold being given to the rat, or is there not mold being given to the rat?
Mm-hmm.
And the dependent variable is also binary. Does the rat get sick, or does the rat not get sick?
Okay, so you're saying that this method that you've talked about right now, using these variables, are a great standard, or you're saying it's not a standard to use in anything that you've spoken of so far?
So the scientific method is very, very handy. Observation, hypothesis, observation, hypothesis, experiment, data. It does it's a great method for coming to true things about the real world.
Okay, so what am I missing here? What have you talked about in the past?
I don't know. What are you missing?
Conversations with me or Indio that you've utilized this method on. Name one.
Well, so in a conversation, I'm not using the scientific method because I'm not doing science while having a conversation with people who are science deniers. I'm talking about.
You're not doing science with science deniers? What is that?
Please, I was in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the conclusions that the scientific method has led us to.
Yeah. What did you use in the whole conversation with me and Indio that utilized this method?
I wasn't claiming to use the scientific method in the conversation.
So no science is being used, according to you telling me what science is. Is that right?
I was describing the conclusions of the scientific method.
Yeah, based on what you said science is, you haven't done any science so far.
Yeah, I'm not doing science. We're talking about results from the scientific method.
Right. So no science is being done whatsoever. So
nope, that's an equivocation.
Any of you now, you said so yourself.
So
I'm not doing
the scientific method wasn't being used. Absolutely. Saying no science was done. Well, science is a very broad thing. Science sometimes refers to.
You just said
really
what
broad.
it is. You just
so
said
no, I
what
told you what the scientific method is. So the scientific method is the very specific thing that I gave you. Science, broadly construed, can be interpreted as the method, or it could be construed as the set of knowledge obtained by the method. There's kind of like two different senses in which it's used, and you're doing an equivocation fallacy by saying that when I said that I wasn't using the scientific method, that in fact I wasn't talking about the broad knowledge base obtained by science, by the scientific method rather.
What did you use? What did you talk about that used science?
So in the sense of science being the base of knowledge obtained from the scientific method, I referred to science in the form of the neutrino experiment, for example.
Okay, what science is being done? Go ahead. What science is being done
at the neutrino experiment? You want me to like outline?
Yeah, well,
how that's science?
If you say it's science, what is, you said like you're making up now what science can be. You're gonna redefine it and you're gonna make it sound like, oh, it's what I say it is now.
Well, these are pretty standard definitions.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not the systematic study of the physical world. It's now.
If you want to use that definition, that's fine. I wouldn't really use that definition, but if you want to use that definition, that's fine. So we weren't studying the natural world while having a conversation. That's not how conversations work.
Okay.
Right?
So
we
we're
were
not
talking
studying the
about
natural
we were
world.
talking about
We're
the
not-
natural world, right?
We're not studying the natural world.
We were
at
talking
all,
about
so
what
we're not
other
doing
people have.
science.
We were talking about what other people have done when
So we're
studying
not
the
doing
natural
science.
world, right? A conversation is not science. A conversation, you can talk about science.
I know what
You
a
can talk about other
conversation
people.
is.
I don't think you
talking
do.
about the
You can talk about
content of
the
a
science that other
conversation,
people
the
have done.
things that you're talking about within the conversation.
So to be clear, we
are-
have talked about the science that
Oh
other
my
people have
God,
done.
dude.
We've talked about the Minos experiment, for
Yeah.
example. Absolutely super relevant.
The
We
what
didn't do it
experiment?
like none of us, neither you nor I, did any science in this conversation because, of course, we didn't. We're having a conversation. We're not out there like making
I
observations
know
and taking
that,
data and
dude.
stuff.
Don't be pedantic about it. We don't have to get.
Why are
into-
you being pedantic about it then?
Yeah, because I want you to at least.
Oh, so you are
explain
being
how
pedantic
in
about it.
any of, in any of the conversation that you utilize.
We've
science
talked about science.
or the science.
I never claimed to use science in the conversation. I never made that claim.
Okay, so no science is being done here. So, what is?
Yeah, of
the-
course
the
we're not
reasoning?
doing science. We're talking about
What is
science.
the reasoning? What is? Yeah, so we're talking about science. What
Mhm.
science are you talking about? That's
Yeah, so,
being
for
done
example,
in anything you
The
said.
kind of science that I talked about earlier was particle physics, which is a kind of science.
Yeah, particle physics.
Mm-hmm.
What does that entail? Telling people that the Earth is an oblate spheroid.
Well, the way that the particle physics experiment was set up requires that the Earth is an oblate spheroid,
Requires.
or at least roughly spherical.
Why? Why?
Because otherwise they would have missed their target,
Well, how do you know that?
because we know what direction it was pointed in, and we
so
can
what?
do geometry.
How do you know it's an oblate spheroid? That's giving them the
To be,
foundation for this.
by the way, I did clarify that it at least requires that there's some curvature. It could have
Yeah,
been that
really?
it's
How
curved
much?
there.
How much?
It
How
could be
much?
that it's curved there and then flat everywhere
How
else, but
much?
that would be kind of weird.
How much curve?
Well, the curvature that they require for their experiment is about 1 degree of curvature every 69 miles.
Did you verify this?
Yeah, I've actually worked out the math myself.
Oh, the math. The math is reality. Yes.
So their experiment has a certain geometric configuration.
Ah, well, you're not answering my question though. Is it
I
math
am answering
reality?
your question.
Is it math reality?
I actually think math is constructed. I'm not a
Mm,
a mathematical realist, if you will.
well, there's
But-
a lot of those who would suggest that. But if you
That's
say you're
great,
not
but
that,
it's irrelevant. The point is that their detector
Okay.
and their collider, their detector and their emitter have known geometry, and so all that's required in order for them to hit their target, knowing that we know what the angle is, we know where these things are located, how deep they are under the ground, all that's required is to just do some math to see how much does it have to be curved in order
but
for
they're
them to hit their
begging
target.
I'm going to use them because you're not putting yourself in the way. You're advocating for it, but they are begging the question that the Earth is an oblate spheroid, and their direction that they're pointing is going to give an outcome that's going to give them the bias confirmation that it is an oblate spheroid. How
Well,
ridiculous
so
is
they
that,
weren't.
dude?
Their goal
Circular.
wasn't to test the shape of the Earth. They were just
Oh, really?
using.
Well, they didn't
were
do
yeah.
anything then in regards to the shape of the Earth. Then why are we even talking about it? Being one
Because
thing
the
that proves
fact
the
that
shape
they
of the Earth.
had the fact that they had to arrange the detector and the emitter in a certain way in order to obtain their result has implications about the way the Earth is shaped.
No, it's not. You said it didn't prove it, so it has no implications. Sorry.
What do you mean? I said, when did I say it didn't prove it?
Well, you said I said from the very beginning they already are conjuring that up within the test, saying that it has to be this in order for the outcome to be that.
No, that's me saying that it has to have some sort of non-horizontal
saying that?
structure.
Well, they weren't saying.
I don't know if they've ever had conversations with flat earthers where they have
Oh,
to
for
have that
God's sakes.
conversation.
All right,
so I don't know
I'm
if they've
asking for
ever said
evidence-
those words.
I'm asking for evidence of how the Earth is known to be
It's known to not
oblate
be
spheroid.
flat, and this experiment is evidence. The
No,
layout
it's
of
not.
this experience
You
is
just
evidence.
finished
Sure it is.
saying that they didn't prove that the Earth was a globe using this experiment, this test.
Well, to be
You
clear,
said so.
so what is true is that it could be that it's like curvy there and then not curvy somewhere else. But what it does show is it does show that the Earth isn't flat. Because
Wait
if
a
it was
minute.
flat, they would miss their
How
target.
do you know? How do you know it's proving that the Earth is a globe? This is the whole.
I never.
is
So
the
so
reason
look,
why we've
that's the
even-
point.
we've
I
even
said
brought
that. I
neutrinos
said that it doesn't. I said that it. I didn't
Okay,
say that
then
it
it
does.
doesn't then.
I says that it proves the
Can
Earth's
we
not
just throw
flat.
this-
It
let's
says
just
the
throw
Earth's
this
not.
in
It
a
proves
bin
the Earth's
then.
not flat.
No, dude, there's land topography. Okay, they could have
This
not
proves that
accounted for that.
this proves there's land topography. So
Yeah.
they would have. So if the Earth was flat, we can actually. Do you want to run the math right now? We can just figure out
Oh my God,
exactly
dude. You
how
said you weren't a
how
math
high
guy.
the topography
You
were.
weren't a math realist.
Oh,
You
no,
just
I am.
finished
I'm a
saying,
math.
not
No,
realist.
I'm not. I'm not a mathematical realist. Doesn't mean that I don't think math is useful. We can run the math right now. So they angled it down at 3 degrees, right? Roughly 3 degrees, like 2.8 or something like that. It's not really going to matter. So they angled it down at 3 degrees. and their target was 710 meters underground. So if it's angled down at 3 degrees, and we gotta put it into radians, and the target was 730 kilometers away, then we can figure out that, in fact, if the Earth was horizontal, but there was just, topography, the emitter would have to be 38 kilometers up in the air relative to the detector.
Great. How did they
Now, are there
figure
any
out
mountains that are 38 kilometers tall?
Yeah, so what, dude? How did they figure out it
So
was an
what? Your
all-blade
evidence,
spheroid?
it destroys my view. So what?
Yeah, the all-blade spheroid doesn't exist.
Okay,
They're
you're just
conjuring
asserting
it
that.
up within
This
they're
disproves the
conjuring-
existence.
they're
This disproves the
conjuring it
flat Earth. This disproves the flat Earth,
no,
right?
it
Yeah.
doesn't. No,
It
it
does.
doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so
No.
if the Earth is flat, does that mean that there's a 38 kilometer
If-
tall mountain?
If the Earth is flat. No, it's
Yeah.
not if. It is.
Is there a 38 kilometer tall mountain?
Yeah, 38-kilometer tall mountain. What does that have to do with all the
Because if they were
bro?
if they were angling their neutrino beam down at 3
what?
degrees, which they are,
Who cares?
in order
They
to
didn't
hit the
prove that the Earth is
detector,
an oblate spheroid. They're not.
in order
they're-
to hit the
listen,
detector 730
heart-
kilometers away, they would,
Bro.
and if the Earth was flat, they would have to be on a mountain 38
No,
kilometers
sorry.
up in the air.
Sorry, the evidence here for your neutrino example doesn't show that the Earth is an oblate spheroid in no way.
It shows
shape, or
the Earth
form.
isn't flat.
The people
Shows the Earth isn't flat. You're avoiding it.
The
AV,
people that were
you're
using
running.
it, listen,
Putting on your running shoes.
I'm actually showing how you are not providing.
Stop, Blitz,
evidence
he's
using
already
your
dead.
neutrino
Yeah, I know.
example. Yeah, you like to interrupt because you don't like this crescendo, and it is that
Crescendo?
your
I mean,
neutrino
like,
example
look,
doesn't
you're
prove
not
in
even
one way
understanding
or
the
another.
geometry
Dude,
here.
stop over talking me.
You're refusing
So
to
does it-
engage with the
dude,
evidence I'm
are you
presenting.
gonna let me finish? Are you
Not
gonna let me
until you
finish? I'm gonna have
engage
to
with
call
the evidence
Mod.
that I'm presenting.
I'm
No.
gonna have to call Mod on you. Okay.
Okay,
now
call
let's-
Mod.
Let's yeah, come on, just let him finish,
Ask
please.
him to engage with the evidence then.
No. The evidence that you brought forward, that neutrino example, was not evidence of the Earth's being an oblate spheroid.
I didn't make that
because
claim.
you
I
even
said it's evidence that the Earth's not
Here
flat.
we go again. Dude, this is the reason why people like you get muted, because you don't let the truth come out. And the truth is, the neutrino example is no way showing that the Earth is an oblate spheroid, because they, according to you, conjured it up within their test, and then they confirmed their bias by saying, well, we've got a different angle coming out from this where we're shooting this neutrinos, so obviously the Earth is not a flat surface. So you're saying that based on the information you gathered from this information, it's nowhere showing that the Earth is an oblate spheroid, or that you know that it's not flat. It's not showing either of those. It's just your imagination, subjective interpretation that this information is showing anything relative to what your point is. But in no way did we start off saying that this example is showing that the Earth is an oblate spheroid, which is my question to you, the premise, where we should have started with. What shows us that the Earth is an oblate spheroid? Your neutrino example is pretty much garbage at this point. You being a PhD should have known this coming into this topic. Now,
Okay, yeah. So to be clear, my claim is that the neutrino experiment proves the Earth isn't flat, or at least is evidence that the Earth isn't flat. I don't want to use the word prove.
sorry, you don't got
So can you provide an account for how it is that the neutrinos were able to hit their detector from 730 miles away while being angled into the ground at 3 degrees on a flat Earth? Can you
Yeah,
can you provide an
Your
account for
neutrino
that?
argument is not providing evidence that the Earth is an oblate spheroid. Therefore,
That
it
wasn't
is a
that wasn't my
bunk
claim.
Argument.
AV, that
It's a
wasn't my
bunk
claim. Why are you
argument.
misrepresenting me?
It's a bunk argument.
It wasn't my
bring it
claim.
up.
Why are you misrepresenting me?
Is it going to prove that the Earth is an oblate spheroid or not?
That wasn't my claim. Why are you misrepresenting me?
All right, so that's my whole point.
DJ, can you
My whole
ask him
point-
to address my claim?
My whole point, no, listen, dude. My whole point was you bringing up an example that shows that the Earth is an oblate spheroid, and you brought the neutrino example, which is not that. You
I brought up an
basically have
so
diverted
my
away from
claim-
answering my question at the very beginning.
My claim is that the neutrino experiment shows the Earth is not flat.
No, sorry.
What do you mean,
It
no,
doesn't.
sorry? Can you address it?
It
Can you
doesn't-
explain how it
yeah.
doesn't?
Yeah, you didn't
Go ahead.
provide what is the neutrino example showing, as far as you can tell. What is it telling everybody?
The actual experiment was conducted to, essentially try to
Mhm.
learn more stuff about neutrinos, about neutrino mass mixing and things like that. But
Okay. What was
the
the end
setup
result,
of the
the end goal?
experiment, the relevant part of the experiment is that they angled a neutrino beam downward into the ground at 3 degrees. And then they found that neutrino beam 730 kilometers away. And if the Earth was flat, they wouldn't
Sorry.
have hit their target.
You can't say that because you don't know that information.
How do
You
I not
can't
know
say
that
that.
information? It was angled
Because
down
the
into the
neutrino
ground.
example, according to what you're reading from the test that they've been conducted,
Mhm.
is in no way, shape, or form telling anybody, even all the 600 listeners that you have listening to you right now, Babylon, that
For
the
what
Earth
it's worth,
is or
I have
is
like
not an oblate,
2,000 listeners.
that the Earth is or is not an oblate spheroid.
It shows
So
that it's not
I
flat.
asked specifically.
Can you
I
address
asked specifically,
the claim?
Yeah, I asked specifically from you and your viewers to hopefully coax you into telling me what is a prime example of the Earth being an oblate spheroid. Go on.
Why do you keep running away from the
Go on,
claim?
sir. Go
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm not going to let you
Tell
run
your
from this.
viewers how you know
I'm
the
not gonna
Earth's
let
an
you run from
oblate
this.
spheroid.
I'm not going to let you run from
I'm
this.
not. I'm pointing out the fact
Why are you
that
running?
you are scared.
Why are you
You're
running?
trembling in your
Was that-
PhD
Why are
shoes
you
right
running?
now. You're trembling in your PhD shoes. You don't want to tell me how.
Why
the
are
Earth
you
is an
running from
oblate
this?
spheroid.
Why are you running
Tell me
from
how
this
the Earth's
proof
an
that the
oblate
Earth isn't
spheroid.
flat?
I'm not going to move from this point, PhD.
Okay, then I guess that we're done here.
No, we're not done here. You're running.
You can't
You
engage
run.
with my claim.
Run, boy. Run, PhD.
You can't
Run
engage
back
with
to
my
your little
claim.
cave, because you can't answer how the Earth's an oblate spheroid.
Why can't you engage with my claim?
Stunned
My
into
claim-
silence?
No,
I
I was
know
just,
that.
taking
I'm
a
pretty sure
taking a
your
breather.
listeners are listening to you silent now because you never had evidence that the Earth is
Why
an
can't
oblate
you engage with my
spheroid,
claim?
even at the beginning.
DJ, you have to understand that
Aw.
I've clarified what my claim is, and AV just refuses to engage with it.
You never had
Go.
intentions. You never had intentions
Are
of
we
coming
gonna
in here.
1 second, AV? Sorry. All right. So your evidence has been the neutrinos experiment. Okay. You're asking AV to. AV's saying it's not valid, right? And
He's-
you're
he's
asking
not
AV
even-
to
He's not even
present.
engaging with the claim. My claim is
Yeah.
that the neutrino
Why is it
experiment.
not invalid?
My
Like,
claim
why is it
is that
invalid? I get it.
yeah. Why does it not show the Earth is not flat? What is wrong with this piece of data?
No.
That's my
that
claim.
wasn't what I asked.
My claim.
He's running.
I don't
he's
care what
running
you're
from
asking.
his fr-
I'm
you're-
presenting
see,
a
you don't care
claim, and
because
you're
I set
misrepresenting
the
me.
premise. Blitz, I set the premise. The premise was
You set the
provide
premise. I'm
evidence.
sorry.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
did
I
you?
did.
Did
I
you?
did.
Or
I
did
did.
you?
I did. I
Did
did.
you
I
form
did.
this
Dude, listen
event?
to me. I said, I don't care. You're not the princess of England, dude. You're not. You're
The
just
princess
another
of
guest
England.
on a show. And your thousands of listeners are going to hear you not provide evidence that the Earth is a globe right now.
So to be clear, the neutrino beam experiment is evidence, but it's evidence that the Earth is a globe. It's proof that the Earth is not flat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell us how. Go ahead and show us how the Earth is a globe using that.
Yeah. So
you just finished saying you went on a long rant saying that it's not evidence that the Earth is a globe.
It is evidence.
Now it
It's
is?
not definitive evidence, but it is evidence.
Ooh.
It's definitive evidence that the Earth is not flat, though. Just to be clear.
No,
so,
you just said
to
it's
be
not
clear,
definitive that
and
the Earth
I'll
is a
lay out
globe.
exactly what I mean. So it is definitive evidence that the Earth isn't flat, because if the Earth was flat, we wouldn't be able to detect these neutrinos. We do detect neutrinos, therefore the Earth isn't flat. However, it's only you might call it circumstantial evidence that the Earth is a globe, because it is what we would expect to happen if the Earth were a globe. Now, this is deductively evidence. This is deductive, definitive evidence that the Earth isn't flat. It is inductive evidence that the Earth is a globe. Now, would you like to engage with the claim that it is deductively the case that if the Earth were flat, we would not have detected the neutrinos? We did detect the neutrinos, therefore the Earth is not flat. Please engage.
Yeah, it's your confirmation bias. That's what the engagement I'm going to give you. You just believe it to be a globe, and it's not flat.
I'm talking about the flat Earth. I'm talking about the shape of the flat Earth, not the
shape
globe
of the
right
flat
now.
Earth. Yeah, you keep
Engage
going
with the
on
claim.
to that because you think
DJ,
that
he's
the
not able to
burden
engage
of-
with it.
Yeah,
This is
you
embarrassing
think
for
that the
him.
proof? Do you think the burden of proof is squarely on my shoulders? No, sir. You
I
didn't
presented
provide any
evidence.
substantial.
You're saying the evidence is
listen,
false, so
listen, this
provide counter
engagement.
evidence.
Yeah, this engagement was supposed to be you provide as a PhD. You providing evidence to the world that the Earth is a globe. You can't do that. Even if you tried your
To be
hardest,
clear-
even if you went back
to
to
be
your
clear,
books
this is
and
evidence.
you're learning, you
To be clear,
cannot
this is
provide
evi-
evidence
this is
that the Earth
evidence.
is a globe. This is the worst case
evidence.
for you right now. I want everybody to see how you are backing away from showing how the Earth is an actual globe.
This
The
is
best
evidence.
you can come up with is just statistics. That's it.
Statistics is how we do science. You know that, right?
So no evidence that the Earth is an actual globe.
This is
Just
evidence,
more
by the way.
numbers. Oh, I think it's a 50% probability the Earth is a globe. That's what I think.
So this is evidence. You know that, yeah?
Yeah. Of what?
Are you aware?
Of what?
It's strong deductive evidence against the Earth being flat, and it's
No.
strong inductive evidence for the Earth being a globe.
Yeah. So obviously not proving that the Earth is a globe.
Yeah,
So
we
more
were talking about
confirmation.
evidence. Why are you
Yeah,
doing a Mott and
evidence-
Bailey with regards to evidence and proof?
When you show what evidence is, the court will examine what it is, and then we can toss it out as not being evidence based on your
The court?
lack of
Who's the
or
court?
inability to provide evidence. Yeah, everyone listening.
Oh, okay.
We're holding
Yeah,
court right now.
I
Yeah,
can
they're
assure
weighing out
you
what you're
that people
saying.
are more in favor of what I'm saying than what you're saying.
That's great because they have a confirmation bias like you do. So many people want to
Or
believe so
they have a
badly.
confirmation
They wanna
bias like
believe,
you do.
They want to close their eyes and want to believe, tomorrow that the Earth is going to be a round globe like they always thought it was, that they were believed it to be. And so all you're doing is soothing that they're there, poor little globers. I got this. I'll give you more confirmation bias to believe that it
AV,
is without
can
showing
you
any evidence that
explain-
it's an actual globe.
Can you
I'm
explain
not
why the
gonna
neutrino
explain.
experiment? Oh,
Not
he's
gonna
not going
do
to
it.
engage. So
No,
you're
because
not.
you
So
didn't
so to
provide
be
evidence.
clear, just to be
You
super
didn't
clear, you're not
substantiate-
going to
you
you're
didn't
not going to
substantiate
explain
that the Earth is a
how
globe.
the neutrino experiment is evidence against the flat Earth. You're not going to explain that.
Yeah. Because you said
Okay, you're
that
refusing
it's not
to engage?
evidence.
Okay, DJ, you heard it here
said
first.
that the-
He's refusing to
no,
engage.
We're not going to listen to your fast talking. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to you not be able to tell us how the Earth is a globe using your neutrino example, because it's not one using that. You know it. In your heart of hearts, you've been using an example.
In your heart of
that
hearts, you
can't
know that you're
produce
lying to
evidence
yourself,
that the
AV.
Earth is a globe.
You know that there's no evidence the Earth is flat. In your heart of hearts, the
Oh, it
neutrinos,
is.
they're pulling you. The neutrinos are pulling you, but you can't. You can't say the Earth is a globe on a live
Listen
stream
to you,
because then
man.
all of your
Listen
friends
to
will
you.
abandon you. You'll lose the only support
do you
system
think-
that
do
you
you think
have.
your
You'll
audience
go
will
back
throw
to
you another
living. You'll
super
have to
chat
go back to living
because
with
of
your
what you're
grandma
saying?
in the basement.
Oh, is that all you got, Mr.
Let's
PhD?
let's not go into that territory. Perhaps AV would like to present some counter evidence for the flat Earth side, right?
So-
that goes against what you've just presented.
DJ, I'd be happy for him to do that as long as he says, "Yeah, I'm not going to say why your evidence is bad."
Well, let's just put it out this way. Before I engage with him, I want the world to know that he never, not once, provided substantial evidence that the Earth is an oblate spheroid in any way. He never demonstrated to the audience that's listening to him right now, using the neutrino example that he thought was his championing evidence that the Earth was going to be a globe or not flat in some way. But all he has right now, he's relying on, is this information that he looked at and just said,
Why
well,
did
this
we
is going to be a
move the
champion argument.
goalposts? Why did we
Can't
move
do
the
that.
goalposts? You said you changed it from
That was
evidence
the
to
position-
substantial evidence.
Yeah, that was the position.
Okay,
in the
what would
first instance.
what is the requirement for evidence to be substantial?
Yeah, you're going to have to provide some sort of
What
field
is the
test or
standard?
some way-
I'm asking what the
I'm
standard
trying
is.
to tell you.
Go ahead.
Shut your big cake hole so I can say it. So what it is people testing in the field how to know or not whether or not the Earth is what they're thinking that it is. So all your listeners out there
Mhm.
that are listening to you yammer on, there's nothing that you've given them so that they can do, so they can verify and test that the Earth is an actual globe like they think it is. You haven't done that for any
so
of them.
substantial evidence is evidence that any random person can replicate. Is that your claim?
Obviously.
Oh, that seems pretty subjective.
Not
I mean, I don't think that you could replicate. I don't think that you could replicate most experiments, but that doesn't mean that those experiments don't happen. Those experiments aren't real.
Yeah,
For
you're just
example,
gonna
would
go
you know how to
into more
replicate
meta.
the photoelectric effect?
You didn't provide evidence that the Earth is a globe.
Well, I mean, you just moved the goalposts. Your standards just went through the roof. You're like, it only counts as substantial evidence if literally every single dumb person can do it.
Oh, so now your listeners are dumb people?
No,
Interesting.
I'm talking
I
about
wanna,
you,
I want to
AV.
see you give them a super chat for that, y'all.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
you,
you must
AV.
love this guy. He's calling you stupid. Wow.
So, AV, to be
Good
clear,
stuff, man.
do you agree that you've moved the goalpost?
No, the standard has always been providing evidence.
Oh, you never
that
said the
Earth
word
is an
sufficient
actual-
before that.
Is an actual globe. You just finished demeaning all of your listening audience.
Well,
you
to be
thumb your
fair,
nose so high,
I was addressing you, AV.
You snub your nose so high up above everybody, and I'm ashamed of you, man, being who you are. You should be ashamed of yourself. Well, what you
I'm
just said.
good.
You should apologize to your
AV.
listeners for what you said.
AV, so to be clear, do you understand that you changed your claim? That first I wasn't providing any evidence. Now I'm not providing sufficient evidence.
No,
Do you agree that you
your
changed
evidence,
that?
Your evidence is lackluster. It's not evidence that.
So you
provides
agree that
the
you
Earth
did
is a
change
globe.
that then, yeah?
No. Your
Oh,
evidence that
wait,
you're
DJ, can
providing
you play
is
back the
not
clip?
your
Actually, I can
evidence-
play back the clip. I'm going to play back
Play
the
back
clip
the
really
clip.
quick. Yep.
Play it back. Also, play back the part you thought your whole audience is not able to understand anything. They're dumb.
Oh,
So
you
play
can't
that one
hear
too.
the clip. Maybe I can feed it through to Discord. Because I can hear it and my audience can hear it, but I don't know if you can.
That's great. You just finished calling all your audience dumb, so how are they going to interpret that? Should be ashamed of yourself, bro. Calling yourself
AV, I was
PhD.
calling you dumb.
No, you called everybody who doesn't understand dumb.
My audience understands.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, they
Did
do.
you test? What's a metric that you tested all your audience is understanding everything you're saying?
Comments.
Symmetric. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And them
My
saying they
audience
understand,
understands.
yeah,
In
they
fact, you
wanna
can go read them right
believe-
now. They're saying, yes,
Dude,
we
they
do
wanna-
understand.
yeah,
Yes,
they
yes,
wanna
we
believe
do.
what you're
Yes,
saying.
yes, we understand. Yes, we understand.
So-
Yup, I understand. Yeah, we do. Yeah, they understand. I'm seeing hundreds of comments saying, yes, we understand. So yeah, they do understand. I'm not calling them dumb. I'm calling you dumb, AV.
Anyway, so there has been no standard of evidence for providing the Earth.
No
as an
standard of
oblate spheroid.
evidence? You're right.
Yeah.
You haven't offered a standard of evidence.
No,
I
I'm talking
agree.
about you. I'm talking about you.
A
You don't
standard
have
of
one.
evidence is a schema by which you use to evaluate
Yeah.
the quality of evidence. You
Great.
haven't
So
offered
what did
that.
you do that for the oblate spheroid?
Provide a
That you think
schema?
exists?
Yeah, if you can provide quantitative data.
Me?
No,
you.
I mean people in general. If someone can provide
Okay.
quantitative data that reinforces a prediction made by a particular model, that is sufficient evidence in my view.
Yeah. So a model is sufficient.
Nope, that's not what I said.
Yeah, you did.
Do you have hearing loss? Because if you
Yeah,
did, I would
just said
understand.
a model. You said model. Isn't that the word you used?
I really
Let's play
hope
back
this
that
isn't the
tape.
flat Earth. This
Let's
isn't the
play
second
back
best
that
the
tape.
flat
You
earthers
said
have to
model.
do. I
Second
said
best.
model in a whole sentence. I said
Okay,
model in
so-
an entire sentence. The
So what-
the standard of evidence, the schema that I'm providing, the way by which I judge whether evidence is good or not, is I examine if there is quantitative evidence that is in agreement with predictions made by a model. Then
So
that
right,
quantitative
your
evidence,
model,
that
your model.
quantitative data is evidence.
based
Or
on
if
a
it's in
model.
disagreement with the model.
Let's play that back. You
No,
said
the
based on a
data,
model.
the data is the evidence. Whether it's in
Yeah, let's-
agreement with the
let's play
model
that
or not
back. You
depends.
said based on a model.
You have a really hard time understanding, don't you?
Yeah, you said based on a model. That's what I heard.
Oh, well then you heard wrong. I'll say it one more time.
Oh, you heard? I heard wrong. You didn't
You
say
did.
model based on a model.
I said model. I didn't say based on a model.
Oh, you did.
No, I didn't.
Play
I'll
back
say it again.
for your audience. Yeah, play it back for your audience.
Okay. Can you shut up for a second so then they can't hear you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm playing it back, AV. You got to shut up for a sec. Did you hear that?
Nobody on this side can hear it.
Okay, so I'll just repeat it back. If the data is if the data agrees with predictions made by a model, not based on a model, made by a model.
Oh God, that's different.
It's very different. Yeah, it's not based on a model. The data is not based on a model. The data is the data. The data will either agree or not agree with predictions made by a model.
So is the model correct?
If the data agrees with it, that's evidence for the model. Yeah.
What data?
Any data whenever you're doing a scientific analysis,
data?
right?
I thought we weren't.
So
doing
in this
science
in this
according to
case,
you.
the
Thought we weren't
data
doing
is
science according to you.
in this case, the data is the angle at which the neutrino beam is shot into the ground.
Your neutrino example again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's data. That's the data here.
Yeah, which you said doesn't provide evidence that the Earth is an.
No, it
oblate
does
spheroid.
provide evidence. It provides inductive evidence. Doesn't provide deductive evidence,
Inductive.
but it does
Audience,
provide
you hear what he's
inductive
saying.
evidence.
No deductive, but inductive.
Yep.
Oh, this is,
Do you understand the
this is so bad
distinction?
for you. Yeah, I do. It's bad.
Okay,
for
can
you
you tell
because
me?
you're
Can you
not-
actually just so I can verify? Can you
dude,
tell me what the
listen,
distinction
listen.
is?
So
Can you
what
tell
we're
me what the
doing now
distinction is? I'm sorry.
Now what we're doing is
No,
just
hold on.
entertaining a
We're not.
PhD. We're
To be
entertaining
clear,
a
to be clear,
PhD
we're not
who's
moving
able
on
to
from
provide
this.
evidence that the
To be
Earth is
clear,
an
we're not
oblate
moving on from
spheroid.
this. Tell me the difference between
Yeah, we
inductive and
moved on from
deductive.
this.
No, we're not.
No, we're moving on from this.
Inductive or deductive? Define those
We
terms.
have
Tell me the difference,
not-
please.
Yeah, we have not provided evidence that the Earth is an oblate spheroid.
He's
based on a
DJ. He's
PhD
running again. I
who's
asked
been
him a
in
very
here-
specific
who's
question and
been
he's
in- Now
refusing
listen
to
to
answer.
what I have to tell you, bro. This is important, right? This is important. You have come
You haven't
into
answered
this
like
chat.
any questions, by the way.
You-
DJ,
yeah, you
can
have
you think
come
of a
into
single
this chat.
question that he's answered?
Yeah, hold on a second, bro. Hold
No,
on.
I'm not holding
You've
on. I'm
come-
appealing to
yeah,
the mod
yeah,
here.
you need
DJ,
to.
can you think
You
of a
need to.
single question that he's
You need to.
answered?
Yeah, the one that you were asking about tides.
Yeah,
Specifically?
what question did you answer?
If tides were real or not. You said you were making a false
You're right.
claim.
You're
that I
right.
said
I'm
tides
sorry,
weren't
DJ.
real.
He answered one question.
Yeah, well, there you go. So see how
He
you
hasn't
look, you're a
engaged with
liar,
anything
bro.
else I've talked
Are
about.
you a liar?
No, I was mistaken. You answered one question.
you're a liar.
Absolutely. You answered one question. You're right. You've answered one question amongst 100.
All right. But I think the time here is already spent for you, and unless anybody else wants to come up and chat with this guy,
DJ, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you ask him to answer my question?
Nope.
Because he hasn't really answered any of my questions. Like
No,
ever.
no,
He answered one
because-
like an hour ago.
Because we started with, it must have been, what time is it now? Oh,
It's almost noon.
going on. What is it? An hour and a half?
Mm-hmm. Can you
Yeah,
ask him to answer the
3 hours.
question, or just admit
From
that he
me,
won't?
from Indio to me, you haven't anyway produced any information that the Earth is an actual oblate spheroid.
I did.
None whatsoever.
But can you answer the question, please?
No.
DJ, can you get him to answer
Well,
the
he
question,
can't force
please?
me to say anything. He can ask me, but he can't force me. I'm not gonna be forced into saying something. I'm my
DJ,
own
will you
man,
ask him
unlike
to answer the
you.
question?
Unlike you, I'm not like a beta boy. They can ask me. Yeah, that's fine.
DJ, will you
Me
ask him to answer
answering
the
is-
question?
Oh my god.
He can hear your question. I don't need to ask him, right? He can hear it.
Well, can you do your job as a moderator and direct the conversation so that
no,
he
dude,
actually
you
can
ain't
answer the
gonna do
question?
No, you ain't gonna do that, bro. Settle down.
Because like he's refused to answer basically any questions that I've asked. He answered one question about the tides like an hour
I
ago.
already told you any question. I've already answered a few.
I
of
said
your
basically
questions.
any question. It was like an hour ago. You haven't answered any questions since.
You're just being dishonest to your whole listening audience.
Okay.
I'm glad
Okay,
there was
AB.
a lot
Are
of
you
people to
satisfied with your
listen to.
conversation? Do you think that you've looked good in this
Yeah.
conversation?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we will let the YouTube comments decide.
I don't, dude. It's, they believe in their hearts what you think is
Dude,
the
you're a
case,
trip,
dude.
bro.
I mean,
all
look,
it
if you
is.
think you looked good, like I can't fight that level of
Dude,
delusion.
Do you
but
see what's happening here? You're always projecting and asking other people. You never reflect on your own self. You never look in the mirror and say, "What have I done in this conversation?" Which
I've done
you
great.
have not provided evidence that the Earth is an oblate spheroid by any empirical means. You haven't
I've
done
done-
that.
I've done really well, actually. Like I've presented
Yeah,
evidence, I've
pat yourself
presented
on the back,
premises,
dude.
I've
You
presented
deserve a little plastic
deductive
trophy for being a
reasoning, I've
PhD.
provided explanations when you asked. I even did the analysis that Indio asked me to do like 2 hours ago, where I flipped the thing and then you overlay. Like I actually did that live stream, and if he was right, I would have been like, "Damn, you're right." I actually like honestly engaged, and I answered questions that were asked of me. You've avoided like
No, you
all
didn't.
but maybe one or two. So I don't know. If you think you look good, then you should probably go like
It's not about looking
read what
good,
the
bro.
people
It's
think
about
that you
being
did.
honest with yourself. It's about
I don't
being
think that
honest
you
with
were
yourself.
you weren't
You're
honest
not
with
being
anyone,
honest with
let
yourself.
alone
You
yourself.
and you're not telling your
Um,
audience that you
so
don't
DJ,
know that the
it
Earth
is
is a
it
globe
is
or
noon.
not. But
So
throughout
I
this,
gotta go. But
Yeah, see
thank
you
you for
later.
having me. I don't know if we'll do this again unless we can get better moderation. I don't know if we'll do this again.
dude,
Because
get
like
over yourself.
I couldn't get any of my questions answered, and that's
Yeah,
like a
you did.
requirement for a
Stop lying.
conversation.
You already conceded that you did. Why would you lie again?
I was being hyperbolic.
Yeah,
But
okay,
thanks for having
maybe-
me.
yeah,
I do
you-
appreciate you guys.
maybe
For
you're
everybody who's
lying.
listening,
Oh,
take care.
How sure?
All right, y'all. So that was an interesting conversation. Yeah, the mod was. I don't know if the mod was asleep, but I'm not doing that again unless I have a neutral mod, because that was really, really bad. And I mean, the mod is a flat earther, like definitely. I've had flat earthers be mods who are good. Jeranism used to be a flat earther, and Jeranism has moderated debates before, and he's really, really unbiased and objective. DJ didn't do a good job. And I'm sorry, DJ, you seem like a lovely person, but you were definitely biased. You were definitely, I don't know if you're watching this, you're definitely biased. And you didn't do your job. You didn't like, I was trying to be good faith and answer questions when asked. As a moderator, your job is to make them answer questions when asked. That is the job. I don't even think he was paying attention half the time. But y'all, I should read super chats before I go. We did get a lot of super chats, so thank you guys for being so generous. So from Neck2, we got $2. Can you boost your mic, Blitz? I did. That was a long time ago. From Fear's Interaction with the $10. Frequently amazed by how cool Blitz stays when dealing with some of the most annoying interlocutors. W Blitz. Yeah, so definitely, you let out the rage a little bit, not rage, but you let out the frustration a little bit just for rhetorical wins sometimes. But yeah, you got to keep your cool most of the time. From Godwin with the $2. Can you see China? Can you see China through telescopes from a mountaintop? You should be able to if the Earth was flat. Yeah. From Eclipse Star with the $10, these guys are hopeless. Yeah, a little bit. From Z Umbrella with the $5, this guy is so dense. I don't know when that was, but yes, they both were. From Alex Heathman with the $5, if Earth was flat, why didn't the dinosaurs fly off when the asteroid hit? Kind of like a dinner plate at the end of the table. True. Absolutely true. Yeah, it should have like tilted, right, and flung them off. From Z Umbrella with the $2, proof that the physical world exists. Yeah, so they were really railing on like the epistemic humility of being a non-absolutist about truth. And being an absolutist about truth is like delusional, right? Like almost nobody is that way in like philosophically, right? From Too Much Vimto with the £2 a couple of pounds for suffering this tool. I appreciate you. From Dylan's Chillin' with the 2 Canuck bucks. The earth is a giant fall. Oh, the earth is a giant phallus, AV. True, absolutely. And then from D-Rock with the $5. AV too dumb to do anything but play word games and avoid the subject. Complete coward. Yeah, AV was much worse. India was trying. Once we actually got into the evidence, he actually tried. AV failed to do that. Yeah. Z Umbrella says with the $2, I have a sneaking suspicion that AV is stupid. Maybe. From Dylan's Chillin' with the 2 Canuck bucks. Blitz didn't call me stupid. He called AV dumb. I did call AV dumb. From Drexel with the $2. Here's more money. Please call us dumb more. Drexel, you're not dumb. If you are regularly in my audience, you're almost certainly not dumb, because I talk about a lot of things and you'll at least learn some things by osmosis, right? From Flash Perez with the $10. AV, we understand. Dr. Blitz called you dumb. Yep, that's true. From Econo C Lodge with the $5. I mean, I'm prettiest at dumb when it comes to some things, but I'm smartest enough to find intelligent people who help fill the gaps. Yeah, so that's what humility is about, right? Not osmosis, diffusion. You're right. See, I don't know biology. Yeah. From Bob Smith with the $2. AV must be short for avoidance. Horribly dishonest. From Combuff with the $2. AV is switching the goalposts. From Drexel with the $5. AV trying to gaslight us into being offended. Nice try. From Gretchen with the $3.11. We get it. AV isn't bright and has PhD envy. From Dylan with the 2 Canuck bucks. AV, the earth is a giant pear. Charlie Brown. From Automotive Shorts. Wow, you guys are so generous. I appreciate you. From Automotive Shorts with the $10. Tell AV to message me so we can square up in the parking lot. Mod can get it too. Hey, let's not threaten violence, okay? From Ian King with the $10. Well, thank you. From Papa Fraud with the $2. I don't agree with your statistics, so it's fake. Yeah, that's the point. From Happiny Packer with the Australian $2. You blitzed them, baby. Ayo, let's go. It's such a good name. From Stinky Ethian with the $2. So proud of you, Dad. Sorry I'm virus pregnant. Gross. That's so gross. Never say that again. And then from Deacon Shadow with the 7 Canuck bucks, you were your usual composed self. AV was a delusional toddler. That is true. I did let some frustration get to me, but that was kind of on purpose. Now we do have 2 other gifts. One from Doug with the $15 on Buy Me a Coffee, saying, keep up the good work. I wish I had your patience. Look, it's a practice skill you can learn. And then from Beer Sigma Chad Mogmaxer with the $5. Please, Dr. Blitz, how much do I have to pay you to debate someone else? Literally anyone else. This was a scheduled debate, so, you know, I couldn't boot him, right? And then we got 2 more super chats from Leopard with the 2 Canuck bucks. 100% he thinks the ship is sinking past the horizon. And from Vanilla Milk Bread with the $10. AV was giving huge Redditor vibes. Yeah, I think so. I agree. Right, so that's it, everybody. Thank you guys for being so generous. Thank you guys for sticking around, for enjoying the live stream. It'll be up if you want to watch it back, if you want to go and double check. I mean, maybe I missed some questions that AV answered. It's possible. I'm absolutely fallible in that regard. But yeah, so if you want to join the Discord server, there is a Discord server that you can join. The way to do it is go to the description of the YouTube channel that you're currently watching it from, or this is my personal Discord server, not the Discord server that the conversation was in. Or you can go to the link tree in my bio on TikTok and read the Discord. And click on the link or copy the link for the Discord and open it in a browser. And we got one more super chat from Double Down with the $20. I'm sorry you had to deal with really stupid people. I wish one time they questioned the math like the angle of the neutrino experiment. You would whip out a pad like you used to and draw it out for them like you used to. Unfortunately, I'm not on my phone. I'm on a camera, a mounted camera now, so it's a little bit harder. But I should start doing that more. I need to get a camera that I can move around more easily. All right, that's it, everybody. I'm just going to let that one sit. I'm not going to read it because I did say that it was it. That was it. No, I'll say thank you, Matt. All right, take care, everybody.